filthy animal! You filthy animal! You filthy animal! Hit her with the speed slicer! 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 Wow, you! Go hit her with the speed slicer! Hit her with the speed slicer! Hit her with the speed slicer! You filthy animal! Wow, you! Go back to the floor!
Even though he didn't qualify for the debate. I feel like there was more.
Mm.
And then, of course, Trump didn't qualify because he couldn't pledge to. He couldn't take the pledge in order to support the nominee.
Oh.
Because he believes he's going to be the nominee. So why does he have to support?
Correct.
He already supports himself.
I do support myself.
Yeah,
I am the nominee. Thank you.
Ugh.
Had a rough day in court. Leave me alone.
My daughter threw me under the bus.
She threw him under the bus, got in the bus, and then drove back over him. Like it.
Yep.
Just.
You think I'm about that?
What did you guys think of Trump's little speech from the lectern or judge when he was on trial? That was ridiculous, wasn't it?
It takes a certain level of arrogance and stupidity to get a judge to snap at you that hard. And of course his attorney is going to try to spin it as, oh look, it's confirmed. The establishment is after him.
There's no sound.
There's no sound.
Mikey, if you're there. Christ. It's one job and he can't do it.
I blame Tim. It's Tim's fault. Tim's not here.
Yeah.
Damn you, Tim. And we're still in the intro anyway.
Chewing on a bone.
Yeah.
If you didn't hear that.
He's just gonna tell him what's going on. God, Hugh Hewitt makes me want to punch somebody.
We could all pretend to be someone and talk for
Hugh
them.
Hewitt is the whitest guy on that.
You didn't have to say more than that. I knew exactly who you meant.
The whitest person you could even imagine.
I know. Wears heels DeSantis might also be in the category for whitest man.
No, his hair's not white enough.
Does your hair have to be white for you to be the whitest man? I don't think so.
I think so. You have to be basically whitewashed, just white. Like Anderson Cooper's whitest guy.
Yeah, he's pretty damn white.
Donald Trump is the first ex-president in more than 100 years to run for the White House again. And he remains popular among Republican primary voters as his legal challenges mount. Governor DeSantis, let me begin with you on this one. Speak to Republican voters who are supporting Donald Trump. Why should you and not him be the Republican nominee to face Joe Biden a year from now?
Correction.
This country is in trouble, and the elites that have put us here, they don't care about you. They don't care that you're having to grapple with higher grocery prices or have higher gas prices. They don't care that your family's less secure because of the open border that's allowed drugs and even terrorists to come into this country. Well, I care. I am not going to sit idly by and let this country continue its downward spiral. We need leadership, and we need it now. I'll take the hits. I'll take the arrows. I'll take the slings. Because ultimately, it's not about me. It's about you. I will fight for you. I will make sure to lead this country's revival, and I will win for you and your family. Actions speak louder than words. We don't have time for excuses, and it's not something that we're going to be able to have all these distractions. As a veteran, I will get the job done.
Every time
now, if you look where we are now, it's a lot different than where we were in 2016.
I don't want to
And
die.
Donald Trump's a lot different guy than he was in 2016. He owes it to you to be on this stage and explain why he should get another chance. He should explain why he didn't have Mexico pay for the border wall. He should explain why he racked up so much debt. He should explain why he didn't drain the swamp. And he said Republicans were going to get tired of winning. Well, we saw last night. I'm sick of Republicans losing. In Florida, I showed how it's done. 1 year ago here, we won a historic victory, including a massive landslide right here in Miami-Dade County. That's how we have to do it. So I promise you this, as the nominee next November, I'll get the job done, and as president, I will deliver.
Time is up. Let me turn to Ambassador Haley.
We'll give them money by
Let me turn
eliminating
to
the
Ambassador
IRS.
Haley. Why you and not the former president?
Well, I think you look at the fact that we're almost $34 trillion in debt. 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. 50% of American families can't afford diapers. 1 in 6 American families can't pay their utility bills.
It was worse under Trump. Really terrible. Oh, good.
Buffering. And I'll give Trump a little credit that a lot of the debt came from COVID relief, and that's fine. But then there was no plan in place to actually deal with it.
1 in 6 American families can't pay their utility bills. You have the fact that he used to be right on Ukraine and foreign issues. Now he's getting weak in the knees and trying to be friendly again. I think that we've got to go back to the fact that we can't live in the past. We can't live in other headlines. We've got to start focusing on what's going to make America strong and proud. And that's what I'm focused on doing. Let's make sure we pay down our debt. I think we need an accountant in the White House. Let's make sure that we have transparency in the classroom. As a mom, I know what that means. Let's make sure we secure our borders so that our families are safe. Let's get crime down, because our families want to know that they can be safe no matter where they go. And as the wife of a combat veteran, I will tell you, the military needs to know we have our back, and we need to make sure that America is strong.
Ambassador, thank you very much.
Every time they mention the military.
Military and police.
Let me just caution the audience. Let's not go down this road.
Even though they don't.
Please, keep restraining yourselves, and would be helpful so we
do
can hear
not
the
care.
candidates, because these are
Totally
important
care
issues,
about you on
and the voters want and need to hear
Just
them.
to get the votes.
Mr. Ramaswamy, let me turn to you. Please make your case. Why would you? Why should you be the nominee and not the former
Guy who
president?
knows nothing.
I think there's something deeper going on in the Republican Party here, and I am upset about what happened last night. We've become a party of losers at the end of the day. It was a cancer in the Republican establishment. Let's speak the truth. I mean, since Ronna McDaniel took over as chairwoman of the RNC in 2017, we have lost 2018,
this is Trump's
2020, 2022, no red wave that never came. We got trounced last night in 2023. And I think that we have to have accountability in our party. For that matter, Ron, if you want to come on stage tonight, you want to look the GOP voters in the eye and tell them you resign, I will yield my time to you. And frankly, look, the people there cheering for losing in the Republican Party. Think about who's moderating this debate. This should be Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk. We'd have 10 times the viewership, asking questions that GOP primary voters actually care about and bringing more people into our party. You think the Democrats, and we've got Kristen Welker here, you think the Democrats would actually hire Greg Gutfeld to host a Democratic debate? They wouldn't do it. And so the fact of the matter is, Kristen, I'm going to use this time because this is actually about you in the media and the corrupt media establishment. Ask you, the Trump-Russia collusion hoax that you pushed on this network for years, was that real, or was that Hillary Clinton made up disinformation? Answer the question. Go.
Mr. Roberts.
Sorry.
Oh my God. You think you're so smart. It's cute.
We need accountability because this media rigged the 2016 election. They rigged the 2020 election with the Hunter Biden laptop story. And they're going to rig this election.
Your time is up.
Accountability.
Let me turn to Governor Christie. Why you? Audience, let's not do this. Let's not do this. Let's let the candidates speak. Governor Christie, why you and not former President Trump?
Well, Lester, look, you said it at the beginning of the debate. We are dealing with extraordinarily important issues facing this country right now. We have our greatest ally in the Middle East under fire from a terrorist group that has committed to wiping them and every Jewish person in this world off the map.
Guys don't
We
care
have
about them.
Ukraine with Vladimir Putin, a communist KGB dictator who wants to put the old band back together. He's starting in Ukraine, and he's going to move to the Baltics and Poland after that. We have inflation in this country that is choking every American family that wants to try to rise up and give their children a better life. And tonight, we need to decide.
I'm back. What I missed?
Which president is going to be the one to tackle the big issues? Who's going to make this country look once again, not just inward,
insulting the moderator,
but look outward at the world and say
direct
America
questions at
is
them
the
instead.
country, the indispensable
Challenging
nation
them because he doesn't have a good answer.
A safer world, and in a safer world,
great.
American
I
innovation,
don't think I've
hard
ever
work
seen that in
has
any
always
debate
been
ever.
the thing.
God, I
That
love
has driven our
Republicans.
country to greater things.
Republicans
I'm
are
gonna be the
so good at
who will
not
do those big
answering
things.
questions.
We're not going to be small, and I'll
Professionals.
say this about Donald Trump. Anybody who's going to be
Trump,
spending the
drink.
next year and a half of their life focusing on keeping themselves out of jail and courtrooms cannot lead this party or this country,
All right,
and it
Governor.
needs to be said plainly.
Governor, thank you. Let me turn to Senator Scott. Senator Scott, you've said former President Trump can't win. Make your case to Republican voters.
Well, certainly. Now, look, what I would say without any question is that the
You got a
truth
booger in
of
your
my
nose.
life destroys the lies of the radical
Go like
left.
this.
We need a president
Made me
and a
look.
candidate
Little
who will
little
actually
bat left
help
cave.
our base solidify and attract independent
bad left.
voters into our party. The great
Guano
opportunity
eating
for me
bat.
is now winning
Better than the
back
fly
African
on
American voters and Hispanic
Mike
voters
Pence's
who are
head.
President's
working on a foundation based on faith.
God, he looked like
Our
death
nation
that night
is
too. He
facing
looked
some
like
deep
he was dying.
challenges.
He
It is the
smelled of
loss
shit
faith
already.
in this nation that is a part of the erosion.
The fly was like,
we see
"Ooh, a
every
fresh
single
one."
day. It's restoring
This
faith,
smells nice.
restoring our Christian values.
This is
that
pleasant
will help
smelling.
This nation once
Christian
again
values.
become the city on the hill. When Ronald Reagan talked
Oh,
about the city
Reagan.
on the hill, he was coming from Matthew 5.
Woo, Reagan,
When
woo.
President Lincoln talked about how
Lincoln.
divided,
Oh,
that was
yeah.
Every
wrong.
time,
Our founding
that's one. Every time you
documents
mention a dead
speak
president.
to the importance of a
And you're
faith
not talking about
foundation.
that sweet
You
A
don't
dead
have to be a
cat.
Christian for
Republican.
America
You have to
work
do
for
the
you. But
Republican or it
America
doesn't work.
does not
That's true.
work
Doesn't count if it's not
without a
Republican.
faith-filled Judeo-Christian
Don't count those
foundation.
Southern
I believe
Dixiecrats.
the president helps us restore faith in God,
Oops,
faith
what's
in
this?
each other, and faith in our future. Without that focus, none of the issues,
So
the
close.
policies matter. We have to get
Doesn't
back
matter
to being
about
a nation
questions.
that is,
Words.
in fact, the city on the hill that
Oh, there it
believes
is.
in each other enough for us to fight
Scott,
for that future.
Senator Scott, thank you. We're going to turn now to the challenges.
Yay,
facing
Jesus.
Yeah,
next
Jesus is
commander
not
in
on the
chief.
ballot.
You'll all be fielding questions first from me and the Republican Jewish Coalition, and then from Kristen and Hugh.
No comment.
So as we continue forward, the Israel-Hamas war is barely a month
Yes.
old.
There it is.
Tonight, Israeli
Look
troops
at
are
this.
fighting inside Gaza City with over 200 hostages
We are here.
who remain captive there, and civilian casualties mount inside Gaza. As President of the United States, what would you be urging Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to do at this moment? Governor DeSantis.
I would be telling Bibi, finish the
Oh.
job once and for all.
What?
Like the-
Butchers Hamas. They're terrorists.
Is that a nickname?
They're massacring innocent people. They would wipe every Jew off the globe if they could. He cannot
Israeli,
live
not Jew.
with that threat right
Yeah.
by his country. That Hamas should release
Every Israeli
hostage,
citizen
and they should
would
unconditionally
also been
surrender.
unacceptable?
I'm sick of hearing the media. I'm sick of hearing other people
People.
blame Israel
Bree
just for
and
defending
Beck,
itself.
if you guys
We
want
will
in, let
stand
me
with
know.
Israel
We're on Skype, but I
in
can send you a
word
link.
and in deed, in public and in private. And I can tell you, as governor, I actually did something about it. Biden's neglect has been atrocious. We had Floridians that were over there after the attack. He left them stranded. They couldn't get flights out. So I scrambled resources in Florida. I sent planes over to Israel, and I brought back over 700 people to safety. There could have been
I
more
flew the plane myself.
had we not acted. And I'll
Were,
tell you
were
this,
those
I
the
met first
same
plane load,
planes that he
when
used
they
to
came
take the
Florida, and one of
migrants
mothers
to
pointed a
Martha's
6-year-old
Vineyard?
daughter,
Yes.
and she said,
Into
"That's what my daughter
Chicago.
had been saying the last 2 nights.
He never
Mommy,
returned
I
them.
don't want to hear
Oh.
any more bombs,
No.
no more rockets.
No,
I
he-
just want to get back to
he promised
Florida."
them a better
So
life.
there's a difference between words and deeds. We acted and we saved lives.
Thank you. Ambassador Haley, what would you do?
We
Except
save
for all
lives. Not
Prime
I.
Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to do? Would you consider humanitarian
The royal
powers, for
we.
example?
Yeah.
The first thing I
Lives
said to
were
him
saved.
when it happened was I said, finish
And they were
them.
from Florida.
Finish them. And the reason is I worked on this every day when I was at the United Nations.
Why are you
And we
staring
have
at
to remember that they
Hi,
have to,
Tim.
one,
Oh, hi, Tim.
eliminate
Hey, it's
Hamas.
Tim.
Two, support Israel
Tim.
with whatever
Hey,
they
it's
need,
me.
whenever they need it. And
Good to
three,
see you,
make sure
Tim.
we bring our hostages home.
Welcome
We
to
need
your
be
show.
Very clear-eyed to know there would be no Hamas
It's all
without
of our
Iran.
show.
There
No,
would be no
I knew. I was
Hezbollah
like, he's
without
gonna
Iran.
hate. He's
There
not
would
gonna.
not
He's
be
not
the
gonna own
Houthis
it.
without
He's
Iran.
gonna pass
And there
it.
wouldn't be the Iranian
everyone's
militias in
show.
Syria and Iraq that are trying to
belongs-
hear
it belongs
to the
military
people.
men and women if
People
it
for
hadn't
the
been
children.
for Iran. And who is funding
It's for
Iran
the
right
kids.
now? China is buying oil from
for
Iran.
the kids.
Russia is getting drones and missiles from Iran, and there is an unholy alliance. We need to be
Unholy?
clear-eyed.
It's
The
called
last
another
thing
religion.
We need to do is to tell
Cunt.
Israel what to do. The only thing we should be doing is supporting them and eliminating Hamas. It is not.
We should help
that
blow up
Israel
Gaza.
needs America.
Yeah.
Got it.
America needs Israel. They are the tip
Well,
of the
do
spear
we
when it
need
comes to this
Gaza?
Islamic terrorism, and we need to make sure that
Those
we have
people
their
can
backs
just
in that
live in the
process.
desert. That's
Thank you.
fine.
Mr. Ramaswamy.
Obviously.
Mr. Ramaswamy, any daylight between
Sand,
you and the
water,
candidates we
same
just
thing.
heard of
They
this
can live
issue?
in the
What
bombs.
you would tell the Prime
Yeah.
Minister?
Not in terms of what I would tell the Prime Minister, no. In fact, I would go one step further. The founding vision of Israel was based on the idea that
Here we
they
go.
don't want to depend on anybody else's sympathy or direction in defending themselves. So what I would tell Bibi is that Israel has
They're
the right
like they're
and the
friends.
responsibility to defend itself. I would tell him to smoke those terrorists
they
on
have
his southern
beers.
border. And then I'll tell him as President of the United States, I'll be smoking the terrorists on our southern border. That's his responsibility. This is our responsibility.
Boo.
That's how we
Oh
move
my
forward. But I wanna be
God.
careful
Wow.
To avoid
How
making the mistakes
horrible is
from
that?
the neocon establishment of the past.
These are real
Corrupt
people you're
politicians
talking
in
about,
both parties
Vivek.
spent trillions.
He doesn't
killed
care.
millions,
He's a fascist.
Made billions for themselves in places
Hey,
like
Mark, can you
Iraq
angle
and
your camera down a little
Afghanistan,
bit?
Fighting wars that sent thousands of our sons
What
and
do you think?
daughters, people my age, to die in wars that did not advance any.
You didn't go to no wars?
Adding $7 trillion to our national
He went
debt.
to all the wars,
And Joe Biden
remember?
sold off
What is he,
our
George
foreign
Santos?
policy.
Only George
Joe
Santos
Biden
is going to all the
got a $4
wars.
billion bribe from
For all the
Ukraine.
wars he did?
That's why we're
I was
sending
gonna
$200
say
billion
like
back to that same
Wolverine, but
country.
I guess
The
George
fact of the matter
Santos
is the
is a
Republican
little
Party
bit
is not
more.
that much better. You have the likes of Nikki
Um,
Haley, who stepped down
Bree in
from
the
time at
Bree in the chat
UN.
says every time they appeal
Bankrupt or in
to
debt is
an
worse for
Abrahamic
family.
belief
Then she becomes a
in
military
place of
contractor.
lived
She
reality,
joins the
everyone
board
take a
of
hit.
Boeing, and otherwise,
Fair enough.
she's now a multimillionaire. So I think that that's wrong when Republicans do it or Democrats
I don't
do
even
it.
know if I can
That's the
smoke that
choice we
much. Come on.
face. Do you want
Even
people
Ollie's
from
backing
different
away.
generations
Like,
to
I don't
go
know,
first?
man.
Republican
Or do you
platform.
want Dick Cheney in 3-inch heels?
I got gummies somewhere.
In this case, we've got two on stage tonight.
Whoa!
Senator,
He just insulted DeSantis for wearing lips.
You're the president.
He
you're
said
the
he's
phone,
on
the
stage
Is that
in
what he said? I
heels.
missed it.
Minister, you
Yeah.
tell him what.
He said it.
But number one,
Oh,
I would
fuck.
tell
Damn.
Prime Minister.
Yeah,
He
Let
said
him
Dick Cheney in
Netanyahu,
heels. There's two of them
not
on
only
stage
Do
tonight.
you have the responsibility and the right?
Good one,
to
Brown
wipe
Jimmy Neutron.
Hamas off of the map.
Remy Neutron.
We will support you.
Nerd.
We will be there with you. We'll stand shoulder to shoulder. There will be no daylight.
No, I don't
I'll
want the
change
cookie.
The station a little bit though, and head back home to
Cookie,
to
cookie,
America.
cookie,
I
starts
would
with
say
C.
to President Biden,
Looking ass
My-
boy.
My wife just
diplomacy
handed me this cookie
only
that is
a
full of.
weak
Fine,
strategy.
just eat it. Shut up.
Vampire
Shut up.
cookie.
Yeah,
Eat
just
it.
eat it. Shut up.
Shut your,
From
shut
all
your,
telling you to
shut,
eat it.
shut your mouth and open your mouth and eat it.
Obama sent millions to Iran.
Eat it.
President Biden
Eat
has-
it.
My wife just said it's
Put
not a
it
school
in
night.
your
Eat
That's
it.
why I've said that there's blood dripping from the hands of President Obama.
Mark, I hate
and
to do this to
President
him.
Biden. I would tell President
No
Biden
balls.
with great clarity, if you want to stop the 40+ attacks on military personnel in the
No
Middle
balls.
East,
You won't do it.
you have to strike in Iran. If you want to make
Oh,
a
so you wanna
difference,
fight
you
Iran.
You're taking a
continue
bite
to
of the
have
cookie. Ken.
strikes in
Jesus.
Syria on
All right, I'm eating the cookie.
warehouses. You actually have to
There you go.
cut off
I'm
the head
producing
Hey,
tonight. You're
it's
fine.
only a cookie.
This is an easy night.
And not
It's not that
simply
bad.
the
It's only a
proxies.
cookie.
And we're gonna
In
play
order
Halo
for us
after
to
this.
have a powerful
Yeah.
response
These
from
guys are all
America,
Warhawks.
we have to
Yeah.
be in
They
a
are,
position of
they are
strength.
Like, they're-
really advocating for
President of the
blowing
United
up
States,
Iran.
my foreign
Like,
They
policy
have
is
no
simple.
shame
You
in
cannot
admitting that
negotiate
they
with
want a
evil.
world
You
war.
have to
Yeah.
destroy it.
All right,
Destroy,
Senator Scott,
destroy,
thank you.
assault,
Governor, first I wanna get you to
destroy,
weigh in here.
assault, assault, destroy.
Lester,
Parker's only in the
these
chat. What
problems
up?
are so
Star
big
Trek.
and serious that the first thing I would say to Prime Minister Netanyahu
But yeah,
is pretty simple.
he says, I
America
don't even
is
know what's
here,
been
no matter
said
what it
yet,
is you
but fuck the
need At
GOP.
any time to preserve the state of Israel.
That works.
Remember that
I'm all for
Hamas's
that.
main goal is to get rid of Israel. is to get Israel absolutely off the map. Now, there are three things I think
Oh,
I would
Lord.
say to him when he asked for advice. The first I would say is that it is absolutely your obligation to protect the territorial integrity of Israel.
How about you
Secondly,
stop
to make
moving
sure
the
you protect
line
the security and the safety
Yeah.
of your people.
of Israel?
Every time
Speaking from
something
the
happens
center,
to compromise
sponsored
either
by
one of
Sprite.
those things,
Don't say that.
it creates greater unrest
That's
in the entire
liable.
region. Second, you must go
Tim
in and
ruined
make
us
sure that
all.
Hamas
I
can
mean,
never do this
Sprite,
again.
give
Tim
us
did
money.
not mean what
The
he just
fact
said.
is that
Coca-Cola, give us money.
Israel and their intelligence
Sponsored
community
by
failed.
Sprite,
They
the
failed here, and they
company
failed the people of
that
the state
makes
of Israel.
computers.
And so we need to work closely
I'm loving
together
it.
to
Sponsored
make
by
sure, one,
Sprite,
that they're
the
degraded,
fairy
and two, that we know
creatures
everything that's
from
going
Nordic
on
The-
religion.
The
Gaza Strip,
Fey
what's going on, so
lager
that something
given
like this
to
can't
us by
happen
the
to kill
by the fairies
1,400
of
individuals
the
again. And the third
Mirkwood.
thing
I
is
don't
to
know.
keep your
The
eye
Black
on the ball.
Forest.
Make sure that we continue to isolate Iran. Work with the reasonable nations in the Middle East, the other Arab nations who want to partner with
Reasonable
you.
nations?
And make
See,
sure
that's
that
your
we
problem.
continue to isolate Iran so that their
Also,
only friends in the
isolate
world
Iran.
are the
I
partners,
busted
They're
out
crazy.
extra pot tonight just
China,
to smoke for
Russia,
us.
Iran, and North
Governor
Korea.
Christie,
I got
very
a
much. We're gonna
delivery
continue
last
in this
night, so all
vein
my
right now
jars
with
are
a
full again.
question from Matthew Brooks, the CEO of the Republican Jewish Coalition, a partner of the Republican National Committee in this debate. Here it is.
Oh, we've got a
Given
clip.
attacks by Iranian-backed proxy groups on U.S. military bases
I don't know if I
in
like this
Syria
outfit.
and Iraq, attacks that have wounded
Yeah, he
like
definitely
it.
gets like
24
it's
of our
mid.
U.S.
It's
service.
mid.
Okay. Oh wait.
Do you
Three
support the
McRibs.
use of military force
Yeah,
I want
by
you to
the United
picture
States against Iran?
picture superimposed over his
Governor Haley,
face.
would you please answer
The
that?
Joker
Yes,
grin.
I'd first like
Oh.
to
It
say
would've
they're
been great
5-inch
with that suit.
heels, and I don't wear them unless you can run
Right?
in them.
No.
Oh man, they're all taking shots at DeSantis now.
Heel jokes. Heel jokes. That's a
I
drink.
wear heels are not for a fashion statement, they're for ammunition. What we need to be doing
Whoa.
for Iraq and Syria is
Look at him
first of
smiling
all,
like, I'm
encouraging our
aroused.
men and women
Weird
to
ass.
be targeted, and that we've allowed almost 100
Smash
hits
the
to happen
patriarchy.
under Biden's
Mommy's
watch
threatening
is
me. I feel
unthinkable. We need to
weird.
understand this is Iran giving the green light, telling them what to do, and we
Oh, man,
shouldn't
there's
be
Cookie
doing
all
the
in my
tit for
keyboard
tat like
now.
what Joe Biden has
Who's
done.
squeaky
We
toying?
need to go
Who
and
said he
take
like the
out their
Cookie Monster?
infrastructure that they are
Rah, rah, rah,
using to make
That's my
more strikes
dog.
with, so they can
Which
never do
one?
it again. Iran
The
responds
squeaky
Apollo.
to
It's
strength.
Apollo. He's
You
got
punch them one and you punch them hard, and they will back off.
Apollo,
But what
stop
we
it.
don't need
No, Apollo, keep
is
doing it.
Biden falling all over himself to
Yeah,
get back
keep
in the
doing it,
Iran
Apollo.
deal. Him giving
Ollie,
$6
throw the
billion
ball.
to get 5 hostages home.
Really?
Him telling
just went and lied
Netanyahu now
down.
that
Do
he
you really want
needs
me
a
to sit
pause
there
or a
again?
ceasefire. We don't need him going and sitting there tiptoeing around Iran.
He
because
sounds
thinks
like a
they're gonna
marching
do
band
something.
fell
You
down the
don't
fucking stairs every
respond
time he goes
to
after the
an
ball.
enemy and a terrorist with fear. You respond with strength. When you do that, that's when the world pays attention, and that's when Iran
You want to know how I
stops.
know
Thank
that
you,
the
Governor
world's not a
DeSantis. If I
simulation?
could continue with you.
Falling up the
Just as the
stairs
US launched another
makes
one of
me
those
feel like
nuclear
I'm part of
strikes
Einstein's
in
experiments.
Iranian
Like I just, my brain
Iranian,
just
linked
disconnects from
facility.
Earth.
How far would you go militarily to hold Iran accountable?
Yeah,
Well,
you're gonna
first,
blow
Matt,
up Iran.
thanks for your question, and I appreciate what you've done over the last month.
You're
I
gonna
know
start-
it's been
you're
very
gonna kick
difficult
off
for the
World War
community, and appreciate you guys rallying together in difficult times. I actually served in Iraq
Jordan
back in
likes
the day,
us.
and
Saudis
we had Al
have
Qaeda in Iraq.
bought
You
us.
had
Yes,
Shia
I agree,
militias
Prentice
that
only.
were funded by Iran that were killing hundreds
Why-
and hundreds of
Bree in the
US
chat says,
troops.
"Why is Nikki
And
Haley?"
As commander in chief, I am not going to put our troops in harm's way unless you're willing to defend them with everything you have. Biden has them out there. They're sitting ducks. He's doing glancing blows. That's just inviting more attacks from the Iranians. I would say,
Yo, where? What
you
attacks?
harm a hair
What
on the
Iranian
head
attacks?
of an American
When
service
was
member,
Iran a
then
part
you are
of
going
this?
to have hell to pay. We are
Hamas
not
is
just
about
going
funding
to
them
sit
with
back
backed by
and let
Iran.
our
Yeah.
service members
But
be
they're
silenced
not-
as
it's not
opposed to
direct,
whether it's
though.
Iran
It's not
or whether
the-
it's any
it's not
country
the
on
same
world.
thing.
We have to be
No, but they're
strong,
arguing
and
that
we
if
have
you
to
cut
defend
off
the
the
people who
supply,
defend us.
Hamas
All
can't
right,
keep
thank you,
doing
Governor.
it.
Now our second
But
and
Hamas
That
is-
means
question
attacking
from Matthew
Iran.
Brooks of the
Iran is
Republican
looking at
Jewish
it like
Coalition.
Gaza
Please
is under
watch.
assault by Israel. Let me help them.
Jewish
They're the
students
little
across
guy.
the
Let me
country
help
are
them.
threatened and under
That's why they
attack.
built
Iran-
that fucking
What
wall
do
is to
you
keep
say
Iran from
to
helping
Jewish
them.
students on college
Iran has
campuses
also been trying
who
to get
feel
cute with our
unsafe
military
given the
assets in the
dramatic rise
area,
in
and
anti-Semitism?
they've been antagonizing
And what do you
us.
Yeah.
say
Ooh,
to university
that's not good.
presidents and college presidents who have not met the moral clarity moment to forcefully
Iran,
condemn
a problem of
Hamas
ours,
terrorism.
and the UK's creation.
Mr. Ramaswamy, would you like to take that one?
Absolutely.
This is what
Damn
happened-
it, Wayne.
Scourge of anti-Semitism across
Yeah,
this
let's blame
country,
Wayne. He's not
including
here.
in places like my alma maters and places
all
like
his
Brooklyn
fault.
Bridge in New York. It's sad to see,
Your
but
alma
here's what
mater.
history teaches us. Anti-Semitism is a symptom of a deeper cancer in a country and a society that is
Yeah, the
You
fascist
hate
party
everybody
you
that doesn't
represent.
look like you,
Several
and
years
the
ago,
people
I
that
wrote
look
my
like
first
you.
book, Woke Inc. I was talking about they were chanting death to America, death to white people, death to Christians. Nobody was waking up back then.
Did they say anything
Now
about
it's even
Indian
bad, now they're
kids?
saying death to
Ooh,
Israel
someone
and
get that
worse.
clip and
So it is wrong, but we have
it'll
to
be
get
perfect
to
for
the
later.
root cause here. Now, I think it's really important that we do this through leadership, not censorship. Leadership means
Here we
fill
go.
that void with purpose and meaning.
I'll
Dilute
fill
this
your
wokeism
void.
and anti-Semitism.
Gross.
to
I don't want
irrelevance.
I don't
These
want
kids,
Vivek
they
to
have
fill
no
any of my
idea
voids.
What the heck
Hey, check
they're
it
even
out.
talking about when they're siding with Hamas over Israel? They are fools. But I also want to caution here: if we go the direction of Ron
Yeah, check
DeSantis or
this
Nikki
out.
Haley, with whom I respectfully disagree on this issue, pro-censorship, telling student groups to disband. Mark my words. Soon they will say if you question a vaccine and its side effects, you're a bioterrorist. Soon they will say that if you show up at a school board meeting, you're a domestic terrorist.
You need to get him
Soon
in a
they say that
Where's
J6
Waldo
prisoners
poster.
should be released.
Oh, that's pretty
You're an
good.
insurrectionist terrorist. So that's
I was
where
thinking
this
all the
road
different
ends.
subway
we
platforms.
Don't quash this with censorship because that creates a worse underbelly. We quell it
No,
through leadership
let
by
me
calling it out.
spread
These university
hate
administrators
online,
have lost
on
their way,
platforms,
and
social
we need
media
leadership
platforms.
at the
Let
top
me
of the
do
United
it.
States of America
Without
that restores
any
our
oversight.
founding values, and that has no place for this kind of anti-Semitic hate. That's where I stand while respecting our Constitution.
You don't even know what that
Senator Scott,
means.
let me get
Yeah.
you to weigh in on
Spell
what you just heard.
Constitution.
So,
Like
let me just
Like
say
his
to
definition of
every
Semite is
single
wrong
university
already.
President
Yeah.
in America.
Because by his
Federal
definition,
funding
most
is
of Gaza is a
privilege,
Semite.
not a right. Number one. Number two, to every student who've come to our country on a visa to a college campus, your visa is a privilege, not a right. Number three.
Lord have mercy.
Any
Them's just some
campus
dog
allows
whistles.
for anti-Semitism
It's more
and hate to allow
Yosemite,
students to
not
encourage
anti-Semite.
terrorism, mass murder,
Mikey,
and
you're
genocide.
canceled.
You
More
should
that.
lose your
That's what
federal
Progress Only
funding
said, not me.
today, period. To all the students on visas, who are
Beck says
encouraging
Vivek is
Jewish
Cindy
genocide,
Lou Who's
I will
brother.
deport you from those campuses. We have to stand strong with our Jewish
Damn, Tim
Americans.
Scott's gonna
At the
deport
end of the
students?
Day, we should not
That's a good idea.
have our Jewish students in a library being told to hide on our streets in New York.
What are you talking
A
about?
Jewish
Yeah, what the
citizen
fuck
has
is he
the
talking
right
about?
to
Yeah,
walk
lesser
on
Tim.
the streets of
He's
America
referencing
with no fear. They have the
anti-Semitism
right
has
to go to
had a
college
sharp
campuses,
uptick
go to
since
class,
this
and not
conflict started.
fear.
Yeah,
We
and
will
Yeah,
so
from
does
fucking
I started
Republican
working
fucking
on
Yeah.
QAnon
anti-Semitism on college
motherfuckers. That's who
campuses
it's
Yeah.
coming
in
from.
But so did
You don't know.
so did,
You
like,
don't know for
because
sure.
even then,
Might be
there was a
anti-Islam
rise of
hate. Like,
anti-Semitism on
it's
college
proportional.
campuses. We must force the people
Force
off
the
those
people
campuses
off the
and
campus.
frankly,
Thank you. Let me
out of our country.
Let me turn to the
It's-
governor. DeSantis.
out
This
of
whole
our
thing
country.
has been
Think about what he
a
just said.
perfect
I
opportunity
was the
for
first
conservatives
president
to
Japan
attack
say,
universities.
If you
Yep.
are
Yeah.
here on a student visa as a foreign national, you're making common cause with Hamas, I'm canceling your visa and I'm sending you home. No questions
That's
asked.
illegal. That's illegal.
Yeah,
That's
you can't
illegal.
do
I
that
have
shit.
friends here in
It's
Florida
also
Just 'cause
inaccurate.
who
And just because
their
you don't like them
kids
or
do
you don't
not
like what they
feel
say,
safe
it doesn't
even
mean you could
going
just
to
kick them out of the
university
country.
campus at all outside of the state
You're not the
Florida.
mayor of
You have
fucking
Jewish
Earth.
students fleeing for their lives at Cooper Union.
It's
Joe
it's
Biden
it's
should
just
have the
that
Department
idea
of
that
Justice
only
on these
wealthy
college
white
campuses and
people
holding the
deserve to be
universities accountable for
educated.
civil rights
That's
violations.
exactly what
When
he's
you have-
saying.
you should not have money going
You
to
know,
these places.
and it's funny.
I already
'Cause-
asked in
'cause
Florida.
These
We
coun-
had a group
these
Students for
countries
Justice of Palestine.
give
They
them
said
money
they are
to
common
go
cause
to
with
the
Hamas. They
US
said, we're not just in
to
solidarity, this is
study
what we
in
are.
the US,
We
which
deactivated them.
means
We're not gonna
they're
use
not
tax
wealthy
dollars
because they come
to
from,
fund jihad.
you know,
No way. And what
these
does Biden do?
socialist
Not only is he
countries
not
that give
helping
you
the
money
Jewish
to go get
students
educated.
who are being
He
persecuted,
doesn't like it.
he is launching an initiative to combat so-called
You know,
Islamophobia.
those Nazis,
No, it's the
you know,
anti-Semitism that's spiraling
that are
out of
all over the
control.
country.
That
You
is
know how they're
what
like
we
all
have
over
to confront.
Disneyland
And as
World,
president,
whatever,
I
the one
can
in
tell you
Florida.
this, We are not
You know, he's like
for
the
this on
governor of
college
Florida.
campuses any longer.
Yeah.
All right, Governor, thank you.
How come he hasn't gone out as the governor and said, you know what, get the fuck away from Disney World. I'm fighting with them because I want to control them. But you cannot spread anti-Semitism. Like, he didn't show up for that shit.
His mother was also
Got a perfect
stabbed more
opportunity
than
to
a
show us how
dozen
you hated
times
anti-Semitism.
in what has been charged as a hate crime. What do you say to Muslim Americans
It's
who are
not
also feeling afraid for
this
their safety
against
right now?
anti-Semitism for
I'm the only one on
Israel
the stage who's
has
actually had
absolutely nothing
experience
to
in
do with
dealing
Jewish
this. I was
people.
appointed by President Bush to be the U.S.
It
Attorney in New
has
Jersey on
absolutely
September 10th,
everything to do with evangelical
2001.
Christians.
And when I took over that job after the
100%.
September 11th attacks, I had to deal with a situation in our state that was explosive. We're the most ethnically diverse state in this country. And so first, we heard credible reports
New Jersey?
about
Really?
Jewish students and synagogues being threatened in our state in the
No, I'm gonna
aftermath
look
of
I'm gonna look that
9/11.
up.
We made sure that we sent federal agents to those synagogues and we
Maybe,
protected them. And
but,
the same
like,
thing should be being done now.
How
At the
big
very
is the
same
Jersey
time,
Shore?
I personally went from mosque to mosque in New Jersey. and
California
met
is the most
with
diverse
the
state.
leaders of those mosques and with the members of the mosques. And I said to them, law enforcement is on
Brenna,
your
are you
side
the most
to
diverse?
protect you, regardless
Not
of your
Orange
religion,
County.
if
We're
you
pretty
are
near.
LA.
going to comply with the law.
LA, San
And
Francisco,
we
I think, is
developed
one of the most
fabulous
diverse.
relationships with Muslim Americans all across the state of New Jersey, and we stopped any hate crimes that were going on
Georgia, New
either
York.
against
New
Jewish
Jersey is
Americans in New Jersey or
tied for
Muslim
sixth
Americans in
with
New
New
Jersey.
York.
It takes leadership, Lester, to
See,
know
that
how
makes
to do
sense.
this. You must work with both
It's
sides.
up there. It's not
both
on top.
sides need to know it.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
let us
yeah.
never have a false
Fact-checking
moral
the
equivalence
politicians
between
live on
Hamas
air.
and Hezbollah and the Jewish people. The Jewish people stand for right and justice, and Hamas and Hezbollah stand for death.
Governor Christie, thank you. Ambassador Haley, what do you say to Americans who are simply afraid right now in this current environment that we're talking about?
I think you look at the country, and the country is all out of sorts. I think, look at what these kids are dealing with on college campuses. What makes me so angry is not only do you have the kids barricaded in the library, they've said they were going to shoot up the kosher dining
Library
hall. You've
full of
got
banned
kids'
books.
dorm rooms who are being set
Hey,
on
Mikey,
fire
can you, like,
because
mute
they
her
have
for a second?
something related to Israel on their doors. No person should ever feel in danger like this.
Can you, like,
and this is what I would say about our college
Can you, like,
presidents.
temporarily
is
cancel
if
her
the
for a second?
KKK were doing this,
What?
every college president would be up in arms. This is no different. You should treat it exactly the same. Anti-Semitism
You should
is
acknowledge
just as
your
awful as
Indian
racism,
roots.
and we've got to make sure they're protected. And for everybody that's protesting on these
Stop
college
passing
campuses
as a white
in
lady.
favor of Hamas,
You're
let
not
me remind
white.
you something. Hamas
Tell
said
'em who
death
you
to
are.
Israel and death to America. They hate and would kill you too. And the idea that they're talking
The
about
KKK
genocide
says
for the
death to
Jewish
blacks
people,
every day,
that's
but you
not
don't
the
see me
values
able
of
to just
America.
fucking
That's
kick in the
not
door
us.
and just
We're
raid their
better than
fucking
that.
headquarters.
We don't need to celebrate terrorists. We don't need to celebrate genocide. We don't need to celebrate
You are
violence
celebrating
towards anybody. We need
Control,
to go
Alt,
back
delete,
and
Haley.
soul search in our country and remember what we are about. And we are about taking care of people, not going and
Yeah,
making
taking
them
care
live
of them
in
once
fear
and for
because
all.
some other
Yeah.
terrorist activity says they want to destroy them.
She has a very
Thank you.
final
Kristen.
solution.
Yeah, yeah.
Sir, thank you. This is another question for the entire field, so you will all get a chance
Welcome
to
to
respond.
the
But
rapture,
Senator Scott,
everybody.
I'd like
Right.
to start with you.
Welcome
The
to
United
Revelation,
States has given Ukraine
aka my
financial
foreign
and military
policy.
support since the war
All
began
right.
more than 600
Before she
days
finishes this
ago.
question, how many of them are going to
President
support
Zelensky
Ukraine?
told me on Sunday, if Russia isn't stopped now,
3.
One.
quote, the price will
Yeah,
be higher
I'm gonna
for
go
the
with
United
one. I'm
States,
gonna go with
and
Christy.
Yeah, I was gonna
Americans
say
would
Christy.
be forced to, quote, send
2.
your
Nikki Haley
sons
supports
and
Ukraine.
daughters to defend
Nikki Haley was
NATO
the
countries.
ambassador to the UN.
Senator
She
Scott,
has more
where do you
knowledge than most
stand
of them.
on more funding for Ukraine?
I certainly have been very supportive of Ukraine. I believe that ultimately we should make sure that the President of the United States states what is America's national vital interest in Ukraine.
There you
It
go.
is actually in degrading the Russian military. We've been very effective using our resources and our weaponry and the incredible
That is the wrong thing to say.
of Ukrainian
So
Yeah,
our,
that is-
whole-
that
our,
is very
our
good.
whole
objective.
reason for supporting
Every day we
Ukraine
get closer
is to
to the
exhaust the
degradation
Russian
of
military.
the Russian military,
You know,
and that's
when
good
they're
news. But the American
offing
people
the
are frustrated
Ukrainians,
that
they'll
they
run
do
out of
not have
bullets,
a
you see.
president who reminds us and tells us, where's the accountability? Where are those dollars? How are those dollars being spent? We need those answers for us to continue to see the support for Ukraine.
You need a neck or a chin, sir.
I would say that a package,
One or the other.
that's been
You don't need
offered
both.
by
You
the
just need one of them.
president
I don't
for
know how to
Ukraine
draw you.
and Israel, that's the wrong approach.
You can't.
We
It's
need
an
to
illusion.
focus specifically on
Sir, you need better lighting.
with the
As soon as
$14
you-
billion that
Every
they
time you
need
try to draw him,
so
you run
that
out of
we show
paper.
the world
It just
that
happens.
we are
He's like
100%
Saitama from One Punch Man. His head is just a
standing
circle.
shoulder to shoulder with Israel. And then as we turn away from that direct support for Israel, we should go to our
They're
southern
not lighting
border
him correctly.
and
They need to
close our
light him from
southern
the
border
bottom
with
so
the
that
resources necessary.
brings
I believe
that
that we have sleeper
definition.
terrorist cells in America.
He looks like he's in front of a green
Thousands of
screen.
people have come from Yemen, Iran, Syria, and Iraq. If we are going
Did you
to
hear that
deal
there's
with the national
terrorists coming
security
the southern
emergency
border?
at
And he
our
knows it.
border,
They all
we have
fucking
to
see.
do it now.
They've been saying that
Thank
since
you, but just to
9/11.
be very clear,
Yeah.
if you were president, if you were in the Oval Office today, would
Even
you
though there's
sign off
absolutely
on more
zero
military funding for Ukraine,
Yeah.
or would you discontinue it?
There's
Bottom
never
line
been
is
evidence.
we have to first have the level of accountability that allows the American
Oh
people
my
to
God.
understand
Answer the
where
question,
the
you fucking
resources
Answer the
have gone.
question.
Number one. Number two, after we have that,
No.
that
No, number two.
responsibility taken care of and
Number one.
accountability, then we have an opportunity to look at
You didn't
a
finish
number
one?
one.
strategy that helps
Point
us
five.
degrade the Russian military while we use our
Wiggles, are
resources
you
and
eating bits of
frankly,
cookie?
keeping our NATO partners safe from the Russian military is absolutely essential. As you understand, Article 5 would require to support and to defend NATO, our troops on the ground. The
Article
fastest way
5
for
would,
us to
require-
eliminate that
Shut up.
possibility is for us to destroy,
We don't care.
to the extent possible, the Russian
To
military.
According
Doing
to the
so
manual.
will actually achieve the objective of keeping our
Answer the
military
question, dude.
home.
You still have
And
it.
that's good news.
Thank you, Senator Scott. Mr.
That was a
Ramaswamy,
really
are you
long no.
persuaded by President Zelensky's urgent new plea? Where do you stand on more funding?
I'm absolutely unpersuaded. And I'm actually enjoying watching the Ukraine Hawks quietly, delicately tiptoe back from their position as this thing has unwound into a disaster.
Hawks?
The first half of this race, I was the only person standing for it. Now they're actually quietly coming around to being more cautious as they should. Level with the American people here.
Nerd.
Ukraine is not a paragon of democracy. This is a country that has banned
That's
the
What
language of
Israel
politics.
is?
It has consolidated all media into
my
one
God.
state TV media arm. That's not democratic. It has threatened not to hold elections this year unless the U.S.
Well, but you
forks
call
over more
all of
money.
our free
That is not
media
democratic.
corrupt and
You,
It has
you,
celebrated
you
destroying our
just told the
country.
media
a man called
that
Zelensky,
they're
doing it in their own
they're
ranks. That is
destroying
not
democracy.
Democratic.
Which
More
is it?
facts for you that you won't hear from the
He doesn't
mainstream
believe in
media.
democracy.
Tell me which one's better.
You can't have
The
it both
regions
ways.
of Ukraine that are occupied by Russia
He wants
right
people
now,
to
in the
vote at
Donbass,
like 800 years old.
Donetsk.
Like what?
These are Russian-speaking
wants media
regions
by
that have
TikTok.
not
Oh,
even been
he's
part
about
of
to say those
Ukraine
regions of
since
Ukraine are supposed to
2014,
be
and other
Russia.
people probably couldn't name those provinces
Oh.
for you. Those are the
So
hard
you
facts.
also have a
And so to
PP tape.
frame this as some kind of
Yeah, he's
battle
definitely got a
between
PP
good
tape.
versus
The
evil,
way he's talking.
don't buy it.
100%
And I want the
PP
likes
tape.
of the sharpest of the war hawks on Ukraine, Nikki Haley, to have some accountability and answer. Do you want to use U.S. taxpayer money to
Yeah.
fund the banning of
They're-
Christians? That
they're
is actually
paying
what's
for
happening.
it.
What?
They're using the Ukrainian Orthodox Church. They have banned them. The Ukrainian parliament just did this last week.
Ukrainian
Supported
Orthodox
by
Church
our
is
dollars. And I
Christian.
think you owe it to the American people, Nikki,
They're
to
banning
at least
Christians.
this one
You don't know,
time
Tim.
condemn
They're a Christian church.
Doesn't matter.
their
Different
banning of
religion.
Christians.
Mr. Ramaswamy,
Or else we're
thank
talking
you.
out of both sides
Mr.
of our mouth
Ramaswamy, thank you. We asked the questions.
That guy's a
Ambassador
fucking
Haley,
idiot.
She deserves to
What is
Yep.
your take on more funding
More
for
followers
Ukraine?
every day.
Oh Lord. Oh,
I am
Lord.
telling you,
Lord have mercy.
Putin and President Xi are salivating at the thought that someone like that could become president. They would love to
The
see
fact of the matter is she doesn't.
Yes.
Ooh, they're salivating.
They're paying
Oh.
him.
Because of these foolish policies.
I
The
guarantee
ambassador has
he's
the
getting
floor.
funding
Ambassador,
from
the first thing
foreign
I'll tell you
interests.
is
It's a brown on brown
we
fight.
all remember what that thug did when he
German
invaded Ukraine.
for fundraising.
We all
Other
know
countries
that
do.
500,000 people have
Oh, what's
died
that? Somebody
because
in the
of Putin.
chat said
And
2
here is a
coconuts fighting in the
freedom-loving,
forest. Don't
pro-American
say
country
that.
that is fighting for its
I'm gonna
survival
need more
and its
cookie for this.
democracy. No, I don't think we should give them cash. I think we should give them the equipment and the ammunition to win.
love
And
you
I'll
guys.
tell you, if Biden had done it when they first asked for it, this war would be over. But let's
That's
also
He did.
remember this.
Oh my God.
When you left Afghanistan in shambles and left them with a ton of weapons and money, it's not that we left, it's how we left. When you look at Ukraine, don't think for a second. Now everybody
Where the
wants to
fuck
move
is
away
her top
from
lip?
Ukraine. They'll want to move away from Israel
It's
a year
it's
from
a
now.
mirage.
America can never be
How
so
many
arrogant
how
to
many
think we don't need friends.
McRibs
After
do you give
9/11,
that
we needed a
outfit
lot
there?
of friends.
None.
Now is the time to get partnerships. This unholy alliance
Mikey,
between
Mikey,
Russia, Ukraine,
this
and
is what
China
happens
is
when you
real.
piss off the
There
gays.
is a reason the
See?
Taiwanese want us to
Gotta
support
keep 'em on your-
Cannot find a
Ukrainians.
makeup
It's because
artist.
they know that
Gotta
China's
keep 'em on
coming
your
after
squad.
them next. There is a
You
reason
can't-
Ukrainians
can't
want
fill
us to
in that
support
upper
Israelis
lip.
because they
And
know that if Iran wins, Russia
can't
wins.
piss off the
We
gays.
have to see the combination of the three.
Where you get that
Thank you.
hair?
Governor Christie, what is
Her
your
lipstick was
take,
like she had a red
and
popsicle.
How long should Americans be expected to help fund the war?
2
in
weeks ago.
Ukraine?
Kirsten, let's remember the last time that we turned our back on a shooting war in Europe.
He had a popsicle before they started this
It
shit.
bought us just a couple of years.
Because
And
they
then
calm themselves
500,000
down.
Americans
I
were
need some
killed in
stress
Europe
pops.
to defeat Hitler. This is not a choice.
Oh my God!
This is the price we pay for being the leaders
Ooh,
of
he
the
compared
free world.
to
And the fact
Putin to
is,
Hitler.
this alliance
He
is
also
not just
he also said
with Russia and
500,000
China.
American troops died in Europe.
Governor Haley knows this. Iran is in the middle of this as well,
That
and
is
so is
radically
North Korea.
incorrect.
And they are all working to support Russia right now. And the reason they're doing it is because
So is
dictators
Vivek.
work
Don't leave him out.
together.
Yeah.
People who believe in democracy work together.
Credit where credit's
we
due,
must
goddammit.
stand with all of those that are standing up for democracy and freedom in this world. And by the way, let's remind everybody of this. In 1992, this
Oh,
country
Lord.
made a promise
41,000
to
Americans
Ukraine.
died in Europe.
We said if you return nuclear missiles that were part of the old Soviet Union to Russia and they invade you, we will protect you. An American promise that's 31 years old is no different than an American promise that's made tonight on this stage.
Hey, remember
We
when
need
you
to
guys
stand by it.
wrote the Constitution
those
with
of
all
us who
those
forget
promises
history
to
are
the
told
native
to
people on
repeat
these
it.
lands?
Yeah, I was supposed to remember all those treaties that we made with the natives that we immediately went back on.
Remember those
Giving
promises
the
from?
dictators, which
Remember
is
that
being
40 acres
suggested
and a
on this
mule thing?
stage, just shows the immaturity of the approach.
I'd like to
That
respond.
America.
No. You're equal in everything. Don't worry about it.
This could become a
Except
wider
for
war if Putin is
you
not
and
stopped now.
you.
Well, any suggestion by Zelensky or anyone else that we're going to eventually have U.S. troops
That's
there, I
okay.
can tell the American people when I'm president that will
I'm a
not
woman.
happen.
These
We are
guys
not
own
gonna
my
send
body,
your sons and
apparently.
daughters to Ukraine. I am going to send troops to our southern border. If you look at the threats that we face,
Oh, fuck
terrorists
off.
have
No
come
one
in
cares
through our
about-
Oh my
southern border.
God.
I'm going to shut it down. I'm going to have
Yeah,
the military,
someone's
and I'm gonna
someone's got to
deport the
definitely
people
put
who've come,
AKs.
particularly
Not
under
AKs.
Biden, who've
What they
come
got?
from the Middle
The
East, come from all these places. Now,
M16.
Biden wants
Someone's got to
$105
keep those
billion.
M16s in the fucking
60,
immigrant
most of
children's
that's Ukraine,
faces.
including some of it going to pay pensions
Sorry,
for
Mikey.
bureaucrats
They're
and
M4A1.
salaries. That is a
You don't-
totally
M-
ridiculous use of American tax
It's the
dollars. He says
XMR
he
or
has
something.
money
I
for
forgot what the
border
new gun
to
was,
try
and
to
I
do,
fucking
the
pulled
media
that out of my
repeat that.
ass.
When you look at it,
I went back
An
too far.
AR does
is
not
money to
stand for
process
assault
more
rifle.
illegal aliens into this country.
Nobody
How is
cares.
that
It-
solving
it
the
actually
problem?
stands
That's
for
making the
armor
problem
light.
worse.
Respect.
And what does he do for the
But American
Indo-Pacific?
respect
A
everyone's
pittance.
hand.
That is the top threat that we face. We need to bring this war to an end. We need the Europeans to step
How?
up and do their fair share.
How, Ron?
And we need to get
By
serious
doing
about
nothing.
the top threat that
Then
this
Russia
country
will win.
faces, which
No.
is the
You're
Chinese
gonna wear
Communist
even
Party.
higher platforms.
Thank you,
So,
Governor.
so his, so his plan for the Ukraine is to attack China.
And Gaza and Israel,
Ah.
two weapons
Unique.
people are calling the new
Unique
Cold
take.
War with China. And I
He's going
remind
all
the
in, Cotton.
audience
Let's see
that
if it
it's
pays out
important
for
our visitors at home to be
Shut
able
up,
to hear you,
Hugh
and
Hewitt.
especially for the people in Beijing
Who
to
is
hear
this
you.
skeleton?
Many
Hugh
Republicans
Hewitt.
Hugh
believe
Hewitt.
that the Chinese Communist
Why
Party
just a
and
white man?
General Secretary
Why is
Xi
Hugh Hewitt
is an
still relevant?
existential threat to
Why
the
is he
United
still
States.
on the
Flashpoint
screen?
is Taiwan.
He's
For
not.
decades and decades, the American military,
His
but
his
primarily
voice,
the
his
United
regular
States
voice,
Navy,
is that white people
has
voice that I
deterred
do.
an attack from China to the island state of
Yes.
Taiwan. But Ronald Reagan's Navy
Island
of
state of
600 ships
Taiwan.
is gone.
Taiwan.
Now, the question to you is,
Now.
and I'll start with you, Ambassador Haley,
Well,
because
you,
you were
Ambassador
President
Haley,
Mikey, you have to stop because
His
that's
goal
what I'm
was a
hearing.
355-ship Navy. That's what he
It's
pushed
Oh, no,
for.
I
at
can't
300.
unhear it.
It's now at 291.
It's not
Is that big enough
291.
to deter and, if
That's
necessary,
better off than a
defeat
start.
an invasion of Taiwan?
China has the largest naval fleet in the world. They
China.
have 350 ships. They'll have 400 ships in 2 years. We won't even have 350 ships in 2 decades. China has
Oh
built
my
up their
God.
military. It's not
let's
just
fact
land,
check.
air, and
They
sea. They're
have
doing cyber. They're doing artificial
350
intelligence. They're
ships
doing space.
of all
America
classifications,
needs to
and some are
modernize our
fishing
military. We need to do everything we can. The first thing is you go and you make
There's
sure you
no
have the
comparison.
back of you.
We
backs
still have
of
the
Ukraine.
most
That's why the
aircraft
Taiwanese want us
carriers
to support
of any
Ukraine
country in the
because they know
world.
that sends the biggest message
By
to China.
a massive
the second
margin. They
thing
have
is
one.
we go
That's
to China
that's
and we start being
that's
tough on them.
where
No
our
more sales
Navy is the
of our
weakest
American
on the
soil
Pacific.
to China, and let's take back what
Yeah,
they've already
right.
stolen. Then you go and you to the universities.
We have 11
no more
carrier
having
groups.
millions of dollars go to our universities. Then we will go and end all formal trade relations with China until they stop murdering Americans from fentanyl. Something Ron has yet to say that he's
It's
gonna
not
do.
coming from
And
China.
then we
It's
modernize
coming
our
from
military.
here.
When we
It's
strengthen our
coming from
military,
inside the
when we
house.
modernize it
Guys,
Call's
with
coming
the
from
focus
inside
on
the house.
cyber,
From inside
artificial
the house.
intelligence in space, when we make sure that we
It's
have
American
the backs of our
pharmaceutical
friends,
companies.
whether it's
No,
in
no,
Israel,
no. They
whether
need
it's
tax
in
breaks.
Ukraine, and we should be
Where's that
arming
smoke coming
Taiwan.
from?
Make
Is it
sure
the
they
neighbor's
have the
house?
equipment
Nope,
they
your couch
need.
is on fire.
Make sure they
Nope,
have the
pretty sure
training
it's the
they
neighbor's
need now.
house.
There's nothing
I'm gonna go
China
outside and
fears
look where this
more
fire is coming
than
from.
knowing that America will
No,
have
no, no,
Taiwan's
it's over
back.
there, I
Let's make
swear.
sure that we show it
Nope.
by
Start
making
hosing
sure
down
they
the
have
house.
the equipment they need.
Governor DeSantis,
black
my
You know,
question
they
is
can't get their story straight about where the fentanyl's come from. Does it come from Mexico? Does it come from China? Does it come from Ecuador? Where's it coming from?
What would you build if you were
Halloween
going to build
candy.
Mexico.
Not enough.
Yeah.
We have to have
Canada?
the
Does it come
ability
from
to
Canada?
back up a strategy
Ali,
of
are you
No,
supplying all the
it's
fentanyl?
not coming
of
from
President
Canada.
Xi's
I'm
ambition.
Definitely
sorry.
come from
No, it's
Canada.
not.
If
Damn
China is able to be the
Canadians.
world's
Canada.
leading superpower, that will affect you and your family in ways that
Canada
are
is
very
responsible
bad. They will
for fentanyl.
export authoritarianism all around the world as the cost of doing
Will they?
business.
Will
will
they?
impose things like social credit
I've gotta
scores
watch
and internet
Canadian Bacon
monitoring.
again.
So this is to this
Well,
generation.
China
what
can't
the
do
Soviet
any of that
Union
to
was
any
to
other
the post-World
country.
War II generation.
Fine.
I've already released a
How
plan.
the hell
We're
does
gonna
he
get
know
to
how Soviet
355
Union was?
ships at the end of the first term, 385 ships at the end of the
Putin
second
paid for
term, but
by
we're going to have a
Soviet
path to 600 ships over the next
Guys,
20 years.
there hasn't been
I think
a
the future of
major
freedom is gonna be
naval
determined in
engagement
the
since World War
Indo-Pacific.
II.
We have a strategy not with
That was
not
just
military,
yesterday.
but decoupling from the economy and
So I
fighting
found
them
some more
here at
facts
home with
about
their
the US.
cultural.
We have
You know,
11
Ambassador
battle
Haley
carriers,
said somehow
9
I
kilo
wasn't doing.
carriers,
She
and
welcomed them into
55
South
decommissioned
Carolina, gave
carriers
them
that could
land
be
near a
retrofitted
military
back to
base, wrote the Chinese ambassador
Literally
a love letter
everything
saying
but
what a great friend
submarines,
they were.
aircraft
That was like
carriers,
their
and missile
number
boats
one
are
way
obsolete.
to do economic development.
Correct.
In Florida,
Battleships,
I banned China
cruisers,
from buying
destroyers,
land in this state,
actually
and we kicked out on
They're
our
completely
universities, and we
useless.
kicked
Yeah,
the
'cause you can
Confucius
hit them from
Institutes
fucking
out of
shore.
our universities. We've
Yeah,
recognized the threat.
you can hit
and
them
we've
with a
acted
fucking
swiftly
surface-to-air
and
missile.
decisively.
Senator Scott,
You can
you've
hit
been
them
in
with a
the
water
Congress
drone.
since
That's just some
2011.
C4
Defense spending
strapped to
has
an
fallen
RC
over
car.
that entire period of time.
Russia learned that
Where
the
are we
hard
going
way.
to get
Let's
the
not
money,
discuss
and
any
what
other
would
plans
you
on
build,
air.
and what kind of ships to deter China from attacking Taiwan?
Well, two major problems with the question.
Mikey, I
Number
just
one,
want to talk about
we
how
do
we can
not
take
have
down
a
America.
defense that allow us to have the kind of production that we need in order
Mikey,
to
I don't
America
really
safe.
think you're
Frankly,
listening
if
to
we
what
are
we
not
have to
prepared
say.
fight
No,
and
no.
engage in 3 continents at the same
Air horn
time,
you to pieces.
think about where we are today.
Sponsored by
In the
Russia.
Middle East,
Mikey, stop
we're
trying
in
to
the midst
silence
of
Tim
trying to
Scott.
back our strongest ally.
I will air horn
In
you
Eastern
into
Europe,
compliance.
We've seen
This
our
is the
resources,
media
our weaponry
trying to
continue
rig
the
the
Russian military.
system.
The Indo-Pacific, we have real challenges.
Pretty soon we're going to be communist country.
The long-term threat is China.
God, I love that
Immediate
one.
threat is our southern border. In order
Media is
for
either
us to
destroying
have
Yes!
the military
Thank God.
to
Take a
fight
drink.
3
Southern border.
different continents at the exact same time.
We're on the same
we're gonna
continent
have
with
to
the southern border,
invest
by the way.
heavily in our military, but we're also going to have to invest
We're on
heavily
the
in an
continent of
industrial
America.
base so that we can
The planet
hit our
of
objectives from a
America?
military
The
perspective.
solar
is Ali.
system of America?
But also with our air
Canadians
with our
just
planes.
Ollie's not
fading
in
away.
America.
So old as
in
a
North America.
military.
He's
In
on
order
the
for
North
us to
America
He's in
is
a
a thing.
communist country.
we're going to have to.
He's in
invest.
America.
One of
He
the
just
things I
doesn't
do
know
in
it.
my Made in America strategy.
Soon as
Not
we
create
yet.
As soon as we liberate Canada.
Jobs by having high-tech
They're
manufacturing
oppressors.
come
Liberate
back to
them from their
America,
own
decoupling
freedom.
from China,
That
so that we focus
universal
our
health
attention
care?
on creating that industrial
Liberate them from their
revolution that will be
freedom.
necessary for us to achieve
That's all the
goal
buzzwords.
of having a military
Freedom,
that is
freedom,
ready to
freedom.
be lethal
No way.
and come home safe.
Ollie, we will
Mr.
be greeted
Ramaswamy,
as
I'm looking for
liberators.
specifics. What would you build? Where
By
would
the
you
Queen
build
of
it? When
Canada.
would they
That's how the
be
history
water?
books will
How
be
big would
written.
the fleet get?
By us.
First answer is end the toxic
By the
divest to invest program. For people who don't know about that, we're
I
decommissioning
sense the
ships
burning
in
of a
South
White
China Sea.
House.
The foundation of war is economics. Rebuild our defense industrial base at home. But here's the dirty
They
little
tried
secret.
that, but
Our actual defense industrial base
we need dollar
depends
Madison
on China for the supply chain, for the F-35 jets, for the ships that we're building. Think
That's
about
because
this.
Is that why the
Why are we
F-35 is so
stockpiling
shitty?
that if it isn't to
Dumbass.
actually be strong against
No,
our
they just
enemy, China?
left him in a
We
field,
depend
and
on
then
them for
they
that.
they cut the
Just like we
grass,
depend on them for
and the grass
pharmaceuticals.
clippings went up
Just
on
like
top
we
of the
depend on
stealth
them for
jets.
semiconductors.
Never found him again.
Here's why we can't get tough with China. It's because we depend
Wow,
on
he's
them
really got the
for
Trump
our modern way of
OK
life. And we
signal,
have to
hand
declare
signal going down.
economic independence from our enemy.
Fine trick.
You
That's the
can't.
Really
Declaration
is
of
worse than
Independence
Trump.
that Thomas Jefferson
He
at the
is
age
such a
of 33
fucking
would have
idiot.
signed. And today, if he were alive, that's the Declaration of Independence that I will sign as the next president. I do have to recognize.
Why would we have a new
Citizens
Declaration of Independence, you
acknowledging
fucking
Haley's
moron?
tough talk when she was ambassador to the UN, calling China our great friend, bringing the CCP to South Carolina. What he left out, though, Ron, and be honest about it, there was a lobbying-based exemption in that bill that allowed Chinese nationals to buy land within a 20-mile radius of a military base lobbied for by one of your donors. So I think we have to call a spade a spade. We need politicians who are independent of the forces.
Man, I wish Trump was there. You were like, wrong.
My message to Xi Jinping is this.
Wrong.
You are done buying land in this country. You will not donate to universities in this country.
Not
U.S.
true.
businesses won't expand into the Chinese market until you play by the same set of
I
rules.
should have,
You're kicked out of the WTO.
To
and
be
you
fair,
actually have to have accountability for the COVID-19
foreign nationals
pandemic
can't own land in the
financially. You
United
unleash
States,
hell on the
period.
law. We
So
have to hold
I don't
them
know what the
accountable.
fuck he's talking about, but
A number and a plan.
I think that we need to increase our naval capacity by at least 20% over the course of the next
if y'all
an
have a
idiot.
problem with
We
that, you
have
might
to,
want
at
to talk
minimum,
to
be able
Trump.
to meet our AUKUS agreement standards. Right now, we are at risk of not even being able to meet our AUKUS standards with Australia and the UK. So what we need to do is have a plan that reverses the trajectory of the divest to invest program.
So he would like 58 new
over the next
vessels.
3 years.
Governor Christie?
You know, my first
3 new
observation to
aircraft
you
carriers.
is that nobody answers your question. And,
Just-
and my second observation is these three in the middle think
Chris
they're
Christie, come on, get 'em.
Sprinkling it on
And
there.
that's what we should focus
Get
on. So
'em.
let's be really
Spicing it
clear.
up.
The nuclear submarines in this United States Navy is the greatest deterrent to Chinese aggression, and that is the
you.
first place
Tim,
I
you
would go
said that.
to increase
That's what I
American
said.
naval power.
Tim-
Our
Tim
nuclear
likes him
submarines
some
are
Chris
able to
Christie.
move stealthily,
Connecticut is the home
quietly,
of submarines.
and effectively. And if we are going to deter China from invading Taiwan, the only way we're going to do it is to make sure that they don't know whether how many nuclear submarines from the United States of America are in the South China Sea and
Chris
in that
Christie's
area,
gonna
and
line
ready
them
to
all up.
strike on them if they decide to move on Taiwan.
that's-
And so we, as our first priority,
I mean-
need to
Talk
go
about the
directly
landmark
to
deal
our
that was
nuclear
signed
sub
between,
program
what,
queue, and we need to
Britain,
increase
Australia,
it
and the United
drastically.
States
That would
for
be priority
a
number
You gotta
one.
talk loud. You
Ships
can't
will come
talk regular.
next, But to me,
Okay.
the ships are
Yeah.
I'll talk
secondary
later.
choice here.
Just no,
These
talk loud.
submarines are the
So
single
loud.
most
Oh no,
important thing that
Biden
we could be
supported a
deterring,
big deal
that
with
we could use
Australia
to
and
deter
Britain to
China.
build the next
But the other
generation
thing
of
we could do
nuclear
to deter
subs.
China is
So
to
it's
let them
already
know that the
being
blood
done.
money they're
So I don't know
spending
what they expect
for
to do
Russia
more.
in
They're gonna
Ukraine
claim credit
right
for
now
it.
will not be
Yeah.
effective. That we send Putin home with his tail between his legs and make them understand that the same fate waits for them if they decide to move towards Taiwan with a more aggressive nuclear sub program. We'll be able to make that
Yes.
threat real.
Mutually
Thank you,
assured
Governor. We're going to take a
destruction.
brief pause
That
now.
always
We'll be
works out
back
good for
to the
everybody.
Republican presidential primary
Roll 'em
debate.
up.
World War
Please stay
III
tuned.
is just around the corner, everybody.
I can barely wait.
World War Zero, because there's not going to be anything left.
Uh-oh.
All right, everybody.
And this is
All right,
why
so-
everyone should vote.
Here's how we take out the U.S. Navy.
Stop.
Point number.
Fuckers, we're gonna fucking be on government watch list for real, and you're like, I can't fly to fucking Ireland. This isn't funny anymore. I'm like, I fucking told you. They don't care about our sarcasm.
Drones, the new future.
Well, Brennan knows all about drones.
Hey,
Now Brenna's implicated.
no.
Hope you didn't
Get
plan
rid
on
of
flying
Drones,
anywhere.
everybody.
Hope you
What,
didn't-
what words? What words should I say?
None. Shut up. Don't say nothing. We're good.
Stop talking.
Don't put the shovel down. Is the first step.
I can't. I already had half the cookie.
No. Oh god. Oh god. I forgot about the cookie. I picked cookie in the short term, and I didn't think about the long term.
There was something
We're
I was gonna
doomed.
say
Please think of the cookie.
about Nikki
Someone
Haley,
please think of the cookie.
and I totally forget what it was. Damn it!
Cool, man.
Cookie
Hey, just ride the wave, bro. Don't be fighting it.
Should No, she was saying something stupid, and I was like, I'll wait till commercial. And now I don't remember it. I forget what she was. She was saying some dumb stuff.
It says here, FBI looking for a National Guardsman who was participating in January 6th. It looks like he's spraying bear spray at people.
Oh wow, there was. You mean the military people and the cops were involved in January 6th?
Okay, let's do something about your fucking microphone because it's wrong.
Crazy.
Something's wrong with your mic.
My mic?
Yeah, it's either not using that mic. Yeah,
Tap
it's not.
your mic.
It's not using that mic.
Using both.
Tap your mic, please.
It is using something else.
Tap your mic.
There. No.
It's not using that mic. Hold on. Is this better?
No. Maybe.
This is the right mic. Nope, that's not the right mic.
I was about to say you're fucking lying because that's further away. That's your camera.
Is this the right mic?
There you go.
That's that
Yay.
sultry voice.
Yeah, because you sounded like dog ass warmed over.
Well, you know.
Do you have a lot of experience with that, Mikey?
I know what it smells like. That's for sure.
Oh.
Never tried it myself, but I know the pungent smell of dog ass.
Poor Zero.
It was a hot smell. It was a hot, smelly summer.
Listen, sometimes it gets really gross.
He was only in the
Sometimes
car for
just
30 seconds, but he had to go right then, and it was messy.
He was growing a tail.
Needless to say, I sold that car.
As is.
There you go. 10 alleged Gambino crime family members arrested on charges about assault with a bat.
Nice.
Better than a tire iron.
They strong-armed their way into somewhere.
Oh my god, that card is gone. Holy shit.
Okay. Yikes. That
God,
explains that.
jeez.
Yowzers.
Darn.
The word for that.
So who's doing well during this debate? Who do you think's doing the best?
God, I can't possibly physically take any more of Vivek Ramaswamy.
Well, you're gonna take it. You're gonna take it, and you're gonna like it.
Everything he says is more fascist than the last thing he said.
Oh, that's so true.
Mikey, I can't believe you missed the intro where he straight up attacked the moderators and started asking them questions about the corrupt media that rigged the election.
Oh yeah, because it's not Fox or like Newsmax, so they must be corrupt.
Presidential debate. Once again, here's Hugh Hewitt.
Thank you, Lester. We're going to stay on
How
China.
is he- Thank you,
talk specifically
Thank
about
you,
TikTok.
Lester.
Last
Well,
week,
considering
Congressman Mike
Fox
Gallagher,
News
who
is
is
going
chairman of the
downhill
House
right now,
Bipartisan Select Committee on the
they're gonna
Chinese
lose that
Communist
pretty
Party,
soon.
published a long essay on TikTok following the flooding of
Essay on
pro-Hamas
TikTok.
propaganda onto TikTok accounts across the United States. Chairman Gallagher called it shocking.
Sounds like
He
something
called
a
the
college
app
student would
predatory,
write. I wrote an
controlled by
essay
America's
on
preeminent
TikTok.
adversary. One used
You
to
gotta
push
watch my
propaganda
TikTok to
and
find
divide
it.
America. It's spyware, he said, a means of surveillance.
It's
Governor
spyware.
Christie, do you agree with Chairman Gallagher? And if so, would you ban or force the sale of TikTok?
I agree 100% with Chairman Gallagher, and let me say this. TikTok is not only spyware, it is polluting the minds of American young people
God, get
all
over
throughout
yourself,
this country.
Christy.
And they're doing it
Get over
intentionally.
yourself.
Just because you
And when
don't
you
get
saw what
views on
happened in the
TikTok
last
doesn't
few
mean you
weeks
have to take it out on everyone.
with all of this
I don't get the
anti-Semitic,
TikToks. I don't know what they're
horrible
doing
stuff
on there.
that their
Is it
algorithms were
porn?
pushing out
I've never
at
had
a
TikTok.
gargantuan rate.
Damn
This
it.
is China
I
trying
literally
to further
watch
divide
cat
the
videos
United
on
States of
TikTok.
America.
That's it.
And this is one of the big
And then I
failings
send
among
them
many
to
of the
Mikey
Trump
and Kristen,
administration.
so
He talked tough
I'm
about TikTok.
Drink.
I heard him do it many times.
Yay.
But when it came down
did
to
we
it,
play a drinking
he
game?
did not ban
Yeah.
them when he could have.
Yeah,
and
but
he
you don't
should
get to
have.
make the
And now
rules
since
though.
then, we've had an
I ate
additional
cookie.
nearly 6 years
You're just told when
Tim's
to
gonna be a
drink.
of
snack
this
by the
type
end
of
of the show.
poison
Take a
being
bite.
put out throughout the United States, even putting
What's the
aside the
game?
spying, which
Doesn't
we know
matter.
is
Nom
going
nom
on
time.
in the theft of American personal data
Don't worry
and
about
information.
it.
The one I'm
So,
watching out for
in
is
my
anytime
first
anybody
week as
says Trump,
president,
you got to drink.
We would
Just
ban
tell me
TikTok.
when to tell me when to
They
eat
want to go
cookies.
ahead and sell it? Let them go ahead and sell it. But I'll tell you another reason we would do it. Facebook's not in China. X is not in China. They're not permitting a free flow of information to the Chinese people from our social media companies. Yet we just open the door and let them do what they're doing.
Is not
TikTok should be banned because they are poisoning American
Also, China has
minds, and I
complete
would do
control
it
over their
week one.
internet
Thank you,
and
Governor.
censorship.
I want to go to Governor DeSantis.
You know, religion
Would you
poisons
ban
the minds of the
or force
youth.
the
Are you going to
sale
ban
of
that too?
TikTok, regardless of whether or
Yes.
not China allowed
Wait.
American apps to operate in China?
I don't know.
Yes, I think that China is the top threat we face. They've been very effective at
China.
infiltrating different parts of our society.
China.
So my policy on China and the Chinese Communist Party is very simple. We win, they lose. And in order to do that,
there you
it's
go.
not just military.
Just
it's
declare a
economic,
victory then.
and it's cultural. And as the dad of
Step
a 6'5" and a 3-year-old,
Step 3,
I'm
profit.
concerned about the data that they're getting from our young people and what they're doing to pollute
Step
the
one,
minds
cut a
of
hole
our
in the
young
box.
people. These kids get these devices and they have a
Make
mind
her
of their
open the
own. And I know a
box.
lot of parents are looking, it's hard to even keep it out. China's obviously the most
just
extreme,
how
but this
you
is
do
happening with
it.
other things. So we are going to do that, and we are going to make sure
It's
to
Mike
protect
Pence
the
in a
American
box.
people. It's a full spectrum approach to be
Pence
able
in
to
a
fend
box.
China
Who
off.
here has watched
Yes,
the
military
opening episode of
deterrence. Yes,
Tequila
economic decoupling,
and saw the guy
but also
actually
their
do
role in
that
our
to her?
culture. If we ignore that, we're not going to be able to
Can't
win
believe
the
he
fight.
suffered
Thank you,
through
Governor.
that.
Ambassador Haley, speak to the parents out there. There are probably TikTok apps on half the phones in this auditorium.
No, I'm
Parents.
going to speak to the fact that 2 people hit me and you didn't let me respond. So let's first talk about the fact that they want to
They
talk
hit
about
her?
the Chinese land
That's the
from 10 years ago. Yes, I brought a fiberglass
That's
company 10
sexism.
years ago to South Carolina. But Ron, you are the chair of your economic development agency that as of last week said Florida is the ideal place for Chinese businesses. Not only that, you have a company
Yeah, Ron,
that is
you dopey fuck.
manufacturer of Chinese military planes. You have it. They are expanding 2 training sites at 2 of your airports
think he
now.
put in an
One which
extra
is
lift
12
during the
miles
break.
away
He's
from a
noticeably
naval
taller.
base. Then
He's
you
got
have
that
another company
platform
that's
that
expanding,
raises
and
them
they
up.
were just invaded
Or
by the
crackers.
Department of Homeland Security.
Does anyone remember
So mine was 10
the
years
debate
ago.
between John
Theirs was
Stewart
6
and Bill
years
O'Reilly?
ago.
John
What's
Stewart's
your
like 5
story?
feet tall, and
I
Bill O'Reilly's like
abolished that
7 feet
agency
tall.
that she's talking about.
John Stewart had a
Enterprise
platform that
Florida,
raised him up.
We abolished it, and
Yeah.
of course we banned
He
China from
scrubbed
buying
the
land.
website
Not
last
exactly
week.
a
Go
great
check.
recruiting
I
pitch
want
if you're
to,
banning them from
You
purchasing land.
scrubbed the
So
website
we've
last
stood up
week.
and
Thank you,
we've done
Ambassador
Get him,
Haley.
girl.
Florida.
Fight forever.
We've
She
talked
got
about
the
this.
Fight
You campaign
forever.
on TikTok. How do you get TikTok banned if you use it?
Well, I want to laugh at why Nikki Haley didn't answer your question, which is about looking at families in the eye. In the last debate, she made fun of me for actually joining TikTok while her own daughter was actually using the app for a long time. So you might want to take care of your
Your
family
daughter was
first.
using
Leave my
TikTok.
daughter
You should
out
take
of your
care of your
voice.
adult daughter. The next
I bet her
generation
daughter
of
has the
Americans
internet,
are
too.
using it.
Next.
Are you
That's
stalking
actually
Nikki Haley's
good.
daughter on
Have her
TikTok,
supporters.
Vivek?
Probably
Wrap it
read
up. That's
books.
fine. Here's the truth.
You're just
What
dumb.
thinks her
is
body
here
is
is
hers.
actually to say that we're just going to ban one app. We got to go further. We have to ban any U.S.
Nikki Haley's
company
daughter.
actually transferring U.S. data to the
I
Chinese.
knew
Here's
he
a
was gonna
story most people don't know. Airbnb hands over U.S. user data to the CCP.
Everyone does it,
Now,
bro.
that's a U.S.-owned company.
Everyone
so this
does
is the
it.
problem when you have
It's called
Republicans that
surveillance
temporarily go the way the
capitalism.
winds
They all
blow.
do
And
it.
now it's
You're gonna ban
popular to
every
talk tough
company?
on China when she
I'm
was
not
UN
going to say anything
ambassador.
about
called them literally
Southeast
her words, not
invasion
mine,
of
our great
America when
friend. You
Vivek
can't be fair weather fans
Ramaswamy
of the
and
right
Nikki
policy.
Haley are on the
Get to
Republican
root
debate
cause.
stage. But hey,
Even
I
US
mean, I
companies
guess
in Silicon
I
Valley
guess
are
everybody draws their
regularly
line
doing
where
it.
they draw their line,
Cut
right?
the virtue signaling.
Yep.
The fact of the matter is Democrats are on TikTok today. The only person, one of the few people who is putting up content the way the actual algorithms work, speaking for pro-Israel views or others, is
Ambassador
me. And I predict
Haley,
more Republicans will join it. But stop U.S. companies from turning over data to Chinese companies.
They all
That's
do
the
it,
real
bro.
issue.
Every app does
Kristen
it.
don't get to
Every app.
respond to personal attacks, but you do.
Thank you very much. You know, when he talks about me praising China, he doesn't know the fact that the reason China was praised was because I negotiated with China and Russia the largest set of sanctions against North Korea in a generation. That is literally the reason North Korea stopped testing ballistic missiles. So I said China did good on their
They
part.
stopped?
That was a
Our
negotiation you
great
could
friend
never
is
do.
what
They
you
did for a
said,
little
Nikki.
bit.
Those
They
are your
said they
words,
stopped.
not mine. And so just
Well,
own up to
You
it.
would
You
never
can
have been
change
able
your
to
mind.
get
That's
that
allowed.
I'm not doing it
negotiation
right now.
done.
Lie to the people about
I
what
have
you've said or
fought
what you've done
against
in South
China
Carolina.
my
Vivek, shut
entire
the
fuck
career
up,
at the
bro.
United
Right about
Nations.
that.
Mute
Every
him.
day I fought China,
the
and I did
lady
it
Look at the
by making
actual
sure
hard
no
facts
one
you
could
brought.
get
His
any
mic.
agency heads in UN.
Mikey, cut his
I
mic.
did it by making sure that we called them out on human rights. I did it by making sure that we held them accountable on everything that they did. That's the reason we got out of the Human Rights Council. That's the reason we called them out. And I have, there's not been a day
Yeah, I do.
Senator Scott, it is
Go
your
ahead.
Mr. Ramaswamy. Senator
Mikey,
Scott.
we need to
Thank
put
you.
in to
We
do
should.
another Republican presidential
I appreciate
debate.
y'all clapping for me already. This is wonderful.
Five the Bin Podcast.
Without any question. What we should
It's
do is
Bin
ban
Media Group.
TikTok, period.
your mic,
Now, we
dumbass.
saw under former President Trump, he tried to ban
Lift your
TikTok
chin.
twice, but was struck down by our federal courts. If you cannot ban TikTok, you should eliminate the Chinese presence on the app. Period. We also should provide, in my parents' Bill of Rights, we
Guys,
give
that's
parents the
not
opportunity
how
to
capitalism
give their
works.
kids
Sorry, it's just not.
permission under
If you want
14
capitalism, you can't
to
do
be
that
on
shit.
those apps. I think it's incredibly important for us as Americans to take back control of the
Parents are too
information,
lazy.
especially of our kids. Where does it go? We should know that. One of the ways that we get to know that is by having a parental consent. But if we can eliminate
Pass
TikTok,
legislation.
that is a first step. But it's
You know,
not
this
just
sounds like the
TikTok.
nanny state. What happened to
China
personal
continues
accountability for these
to
14-year-olds?
spy on our kids, but
What
they're
happened to
also buying
individualism?
our farmlands.
They can
We
carry
talked
a
about this
fucking
several
they can
times
carry a
here.
fucking
We have to
gun,
make
but they need
sure
a
that we
permission
use
slip
the
for fucking
tools
TikTok.
that are in our toolkit to stop China from buying farmland
By the way,
in our
China.
bases.
these
The
children
third thing
are
we have to do
far
is make
smarter
sure
than these
that they
adults.
stop
They'll
stealing
find a way
our
to get around
intellectual
any
property.
of that.
They're literally stealing
Someone's gonna
our
have a-
Kids will
IP
even
to
buy
compete
their own
against us.
phone.
My administration,
New drinking
we
game,
start
guys.
that day
Every time
one, and
somebody
we start
repeats
making
somebody saying
sure
China,
that we create six-figure
All right,
income
calm down,
for
Ollie.
jobs
We only have so
made
much
in
alcohol in North
America.
America.
This is my
all right?
strategy.
China.
Yeah, you don't get to put rules into the game if you're not playing.
And you're also not drinking. That's true.
Yeah, that's not fair.
Drinking's different than
token.
smoking. No, that's very different. You can toke and just keep on toking.
President Trump and President
I'm gonna have
Biden
some hot
have
knives,
taken
dude.
different
That's gonna
approaches
get me
to
right
Nicolas
fucked up.
Maduro's
Come on
regime
now.
with little result. Former
800
President
milligram
Trump put
gummy.
economic pressure
Yeah,
on
but weed doesn't make you
Venezuela
throw
and
up if you
backed
have
one
too much of
Maduro's
it.
rivals.
Aw.
President Biden temporarily eased sanctions
I
can
see you
test that
drinking.
theory.
electoral reforms. Governor DeSantis,
Do it, Tim.
do you
No
see
balls.
the political situation in Venezuela as a
I have
threat
tested
to the
that
United
theory. He's kinda
States?
right.
And what would
I've
your
got
approach be?
rye today.
We should never rely on
very good.
Venezuela for oil like Biden has had to go beg. I'm going to unleash all
Why
of
are-
America's
what?
energy potential.
Why-
On
Beg.
day one, I'm taking
Here we
all
go with
the
the
Biden
dumb-dumb shit.
regulations, the Green New Deal.
Here we go with the let's
ripping
attack
it
the
up
natives
and
part of
throwing
the
it in
show.
trash can where it belongs. We're going to lower your gas prices. We're going to create jobs. We're
Do
going
it.
to lower energy
I
costs.
fucking dare you
We're
to lower
also gonna
gas
be
prices,
more
you ass.
Energy independent and secure. We'll choose
You
The
would
gas pri-
literally
over Moscow,
have
we'll
to
choose the
go to the
Marcellus
gas
over the
companies
mullahs,
and
we'll choose
force them to
Bakken
lower
over
that.
Beijing.
Yeah.
That is
They're
Which
just being
means that
greedy.
America's national
you
security.
have to go
Biden's
and
Green
you
New
have to
Deal,
tell
that's
private
good for
business
Venezuela,
what to do.
It's good for Russia, it's good for Iran, and it's good for
I think there
China.
was 2 or
So I
3
would
bills
turn the
that
screws
tried
on
to
the
give executive
Venezuelan
powers to
regime. I think
Biden
it's
so
a
he could control or
corrupt,
halt gas
dictatorial
increases.
regime,
And
we
Republicans
should
voted against
never
every
go
single
hat in hand
Why
begging
give
for
Biden,
oil
you
from
know,
them.
Just to be clear, would
He
you
also-
be opposed
Yeah, why
to
give Biden the win?
Yeah.
And Biden also refilled our gas reserves, which he used to lessen the greed from the companies. And then he bought it back at that reduced price after they reduced the price back down. So we put it, we refilled the reserves back up for a discount. We saved $400,000, but
Begging for freedom. We need to make sure that we do everything we can to.
And California, because of all our surplus money, we actually
Here we
ended
go.
up getting
California, because all
gas
our
rebate.
surplus money. We're the 6th largest economy in the world. Fourth largest economy in the world.
we're the 8th largest economy in the world.
No, you're wrong.
We're the
You guys should go
44th.
back in a
California is
rebate,
so great.
California.
Yo, if California was so great, why is it always on fire?
That's the greatness shining through the atmosphere.
Because they arrested all the natives that could control burns.
Listen in tomorrow and you'll your answers.
And that'll be on the
answers to your
bin.
question.
Oh, has California solved global warming? Is that what's going on?
I hope so. I sure hope so. It's going to be a good Thursday.
Get the shale without fracking. We are absolutely going to frack.
You gotta watch.
But I disagree with Nikki.
Who cares
Haley. I
about
don't think
fucking
it's a good idea to
aquifers
drill
and
in
earthquakes?
Florida
Frack.
Everglades, and I know most Floridians agree with
Who
me.
cares if you could put water in the cup from a tap and you can light it on fire?
Ah, guys,
good
you gotta
for ya.
frack. It's safe. Listen, it's safe. as long as you don't live within
So-
100 miles of it.
So
They live
when
all close to it.
when fracking started in Oklahoma, there was so many earthquakes that they didn't have earthquake insurance there. So all of a sudden, everybody had to have earthquake insurance. Nobody
safe.
knew what to do with it.
It's safe.
That's funny.
If your house is totally not set up to move, just put something in the ground that makes it move. That's fine.
And in Oklahoma, they have tornadoes, so everything just ends up. It is
fine.
not earthquake safe. But here in California,
Here in California,
That's
Maybe
okay.
if we
we're
just
the
dig big
best
holes
ever.
and get the
We have-
tornadoes
we have
to go in the
earthquake
holes,
standards.
the tornadoes will frack the oil.
Yeah, why don't you get some fucking windmills set up to dig the holes for you?
Brennan,
There's
you guys have
there's
earthquake insurance because one day half your state's just going to fall into the ocean.
yes, and I'm going to be on that half.
The island, California.
I am on the other side of the
He's like, hey, San Francisco. I don't remember being able to see that before. Wait a minute.
Closed out to Hawaii at this point.
Wait, this river's getting bigger.
Wait, there was no water here.
Somehow we haven't lost internet connection. I guess this is fine.
Ocean from we invented it.
In 3 different areas.
We have the internet, so you know what? You guys are all fucked.
Oh, is Al Gore from there?
Is the energy economy. We have an opportunity as Americans.
No, he invented it. We have it.
Oh, copy.
That we create in our nation.
I have internet.
Disconnect
You're Al
Yeah.
Gore.
and from
You're welcome.
It'll move
No.
to Texas eventually.
My internet comes
It'll just be in Texas
Yep, the Texas net.
until it all
Okay.
shuts down one day.
You become president.
Because 2 people went on at the same time.
Exactly.
I don't
You
know
can't do
about
that.
I don't know about Mark, but I know that Mikey and me are on a different grid than y'all.
I'm on a different grid.
I'm on my own grid.
I'm on a different grid.
Ollie, we weren't talking about Canada.
Your lesser
Shut up,
grids.
Canada.
I know you guys get power from like mooses running on a treadmill.
A bunch of beavers slapping their tails.
Swimming upstream, exactly.
Yeah, slapping their tails against the generator.
You know, that rumbling sound when the curling stone goes against the ice, that's energy beams.
They capture that sound and they power the city with it.
That's how you power it.
Wow. So there is a reason for curling.
Yes.
Finally.
For power and for drinking.
After all these years.
You don't make fun of curling, Ari.
Because it couldn't possibly be a sport. That couldn't be a reason.
And I love how I have
The oldest
And
20
with Brooms is a funny fucking movie.
I have like 20 Canadian friends, and the most avid curler I know lives in Southern California. Like, what the fuck?
A moment ago, but some specific examples of ways that would
And
put
I've met the
people on
Canadian national
a better
curlers
economic footing
of
right away.
So I
most
started off
provinces,
working
so-
minimum wage jobs. I did $6 an hour as an electrician.
Ron DeSantis doesn't believe in a minimum wage.
To be able to get through school, and I did that because I
$6
How else is
an
he gonna
electrician.
control
work hard
Disney
to get
World?
the most out of your God-given ability. You can get ahead.
Isn't he like a fighter
What's happening
pilot?
Now, many of you are working hard, and you're falling
No.
further and further
No.
behind. I've met people in Iowa,
pilot.
New Hampshire, and
He's
all
got some
across the
military
country who've talked
experience,
about
right?
He was.
all the
I think he
burdens
was
that
in the
they're
Air
facing
Force.
with
I
the
don't
rising
think he was a
prices.
fighter
I've heard
pilot.
from
I mean, he's
multiple
short
people
enough
the
to be a
same
fighter
story. When
pilot.
they go grocery
Yeah.
shopping,
Heels
Those-
what they now
yeah,
do
but
He was
is
in
they
the
figure out what they have to
Navy,
take
a
out of
lieutenant
the cart
commander, and the
once
judge
it's running out
advocate,
because it
Naval
rings up so
Reserve.
much
Oh, he was
Oh.
JAGs.
Isn't
He's a
Naval
lawyer.
Reserve.
that they
Naval
can't
Reserve
afford
JAG?
the
Come
full
on.
cart of groceries anymore.
Didn't know we
have
deployed
to
the Navy
restore
to
the
So he was
order
Tom.
in this
He was
country.
Tom Cruise.
What can you do on day one? Here's what I'm gonna do.
He
I'm
wishes.
gonna take
He
all
thinks
these
he's,
executive
he totally
orders,
thinks he's fucking Tom Cruise from A Few Good Men.
Bidenomics. I'm gonna
He 100% thinks that's
you
him every
want
day.
Code
That-
Red?
day one where it belongs.
That's what
That
you
is
like.
If
what the
Walk
economy
around like
breathing
that.
room, and I'm
But
also
Colonel
gonna rein
Jessup,
in the Federal
If the
Reserve. They
troops always do what you say, then Santiago shouldn't have been in any danger.
Since the COVID-19 pandemic, they botched it. Congress botched it.
I can have the court reporter read it back to you.
Fed should focus on stable prices. They are not an economic central planner for the American people.
Governor, thank you. Mr. Ramaswamy, weigh in on this.
And the hits just keep on coming.
Don't let Ramaswamy talk, please.
Mr. Fascist, what do you think?
Somebody shut that man up.
Policy prescription for this country. Increase the supply of everything. It's the law of supplies and demand.
Wow.
Increase
Flood the market.
supply of energy. That brings
Flood
the
the
market.
market.
Energy grows the economy. Drill, frack, burn coal, embrace nuclear. Increase the supply of labor in this country. Stop using our taxpayer money to pay people more to stay at home.
You're telling all the
instead
immigrants
of to
to
go
leave.
to work.
Oh, he's saying
Increase the
cancel
supply of
unemployment
housing.
insurance.
People
That's a
don't
good
talk
idea.
about this one in the Republican Party. The land use restrictions are constricting the supply of housing. That's making housing more expensive.
No, your
ordinary
buddies at
Americans across this
Airbnb
country.
bought all the
So that's
starter
true answer, and I
homes,
think it takes a
and you
CEO
won't
in the
give
White
them
House who actually
back. You're
understands
charging
this to
twice
get
the
this
rate for
done.
them.
Because Americans at home, they know
Tech
the
bro.
Bidenomics is a lie. Prices are going up. Interest rates
the
and mortgages
fuck
to
is
buy a home are
Bidenomics?
going up. But wages have remained flat. That's the hard diagnosis for our economy. And this is about more than just our economy.
And
I
your
say this as a
plan
member
to
of my
bolster the
generation.
economy is
I'm
to
38 years
give
old.
the
I'm the youngest
largest
person ever to run
lobbying
for U.S. president as a Republican.
entities
The reason
more
my
business.
generation has lost our
They're
sense
always
of national
this
pride in
close
part
to
is because
figuring
people
it
in my
out.
generation
And
feel like the
then
American
take a turn
dream
left.
isn't available to them. And part of the reason
They
why
almost
is we
solve a
burden
problem
them
and then
with
money gets
four-year
in the way.
college degrees that did not serve their head start on the American
Oh, is
dream.
he going to forgive debt?
People will be
wait,
more
is
proud of
that
a
going to
country
forgive debt?
if we're all making more money in that country. This is how we revive national pride and our identity.
No.
And it will
Yeah,
take
look
a
at what
CEO in
India
the White
did. They can
House
totally breathe
with
the air now.
zero-based budgeting, by the way, to take on the
Mr.
federal
Ramaswamy,
debt
And drink the
to
water.
get this
Let me
job
turn to
done.
Governor
Oh,
Christie
man.
on that.
He wants to do zero-based
Well,
budgeting?
that's part
That's
of
bad.
part of the entire premise of the question,
Here's
and
Tim's
I agree
boyfriend.
with Tim on this, is absolutely energy is the key to this because it drives every one of those other prices. You know, now food gets to your grocery store, it gets trucked. And those truckers have to pay for fuel and for the
Those
higher
truckers
fuel
eat
prices.
fuel.
And when
I
you
thought it
go
was horse
ahead
and buggy.
and you tell people we are
what they
going
want.
to
Your
unleash
food
every
is
bit of
fuel.
American energy,
Just put it in your
Steam
car.
every
train.
bit of its potential. What happens
Just
in the
put the
futures
corn
markets?
in your
The
car
prices go down
directly. 85.
because those people who are believing that the Biden program will continue
85
are the
ears
ones
of
who are
corn.
bidding this up.
Like,
And
we
let me
need
tell
to
you
use
the other places
Uber
bidding it
to
up.
deliver
In
all
the
of our
Middle East.
groceries to
And so
stores.
if you don't believe that making
That'll
sure
be
that
good.
Israel and that
Yeah.
Israel
Just
situation
just
that's
cars
going
full
on
of corn.
right now
Well, Uber really
is
needs
it
a business
resolved
model.
and resolved
So
quickly as president of the United States and bring
How much
stability
is a
back,
a
that will also
prism
not permit
Oh my God.
countries like Saudi Arabia and others
a
to be able
German
to jack their
Shepherd
prices
you
as well
have.
in what they say is in response to
Yes.
the crisis. When
So
it's really
cute.
what it's in response to is putting more money in their pockets.
what his name
when they
is.
have an American president who knows that
What's the name
Israel
of your
must be
lovely
defended
German
not
Shepherd?
with humanitarian pauses and not with
Boomer.
suggestions for
Boomer.
ceasefire, but with letting them know
And he
we
threw his
will
ball
supply
underneath
them
my
with
desk
everything they
now,
need.
right?
My next
That
door
will
neighbor
also bring
has
stability
3
to the
German
market.
Shepherds, so I get
Energy is
greeted
the
every
key
day.
to bringing this down. It's
They're
what
part of
every
the show
American
every
family
week.
needs when they turn on
Yes,
the lights,
you
fill
hear
up their
them.
car, and go to the grocery store. And we need to do that first and foremost. That's the short-term answer.
Governor Christie, thank you. Ambassador Hillary, let me come at this from a slightly
You also
different
have to
direction.
make sure that there's
Americans in
migrants
rural
in order
communities
to
are being
get the
especially
produce.
squeezed by inflation
nah,
right
you don't
now.
need that.
Process.
An Iowa
Americans
State
will do
University
those
study
jobs.
found that last year inflation
Literally,
cost
they don't.
rural households about an extra $5,000.
They'll do it for like an
How would
hour
you
and then
specifically
quit.
help rural
They're
Americans who are
slow.
suffering right now?
They don't
Ambassador?
show
Well,
up.
I'm a product of rural
get
America.
tired.
I grew up in rural South Carolina. And I can tell you what we're seeing now in America is the rich are
There
getting
was
richer and the
Indian
poor are getting poorer.
family that
We
had a
have to go
farm
and start
in
beefing
South
up the middle
Carolina.
class. And the
That's
first thing I would do
interesting.
is I will eliminate
I don't
the federal,
hate Indian people for the
gas and
record.
diesel tax
It
in
just
this
pisses
country.
me off that
We'll
she
cut
won't claim her
taxes on the middle
heritage and
class,
she's
but
trying to
we have
whitewash her
stop the
image,
spending
and it's
binge
working.
that's happening
That's
by
why I keep
Republicans
bringing
and
that up.
Democrats in Congress. I will make sure, one, we claw back the $500 billion of unspent COVID dollars that are out there. Instead of
Ask Marjorie
87,000
Taylor Greene,
IRS
she's got
agents
most of
going
them.
after middle
Yeah,
America,
right?
go after
Yeah.
the hundreds of
I'm
billions of dollars
wondering
of
who
COVID
holds
fraud that
most of
exists,
that.
1 out of every $7. We'll stop the spending, we'll stop the borrowing, we'll eliminate the earmarks.
$500 million
$500
is nothing in the federal budget, by the way.
Literally
Nothing.
nothing.
That will cut
What is it, 34
trillions and
trillion?
allow us to be safe. We
It's
also need
3
to be
trillion
not
is is
independent, energy
discretional
dominant.
spending.
We are blessed with resources. Let's do it.
Discretional?
But the
that's not a
reason no
word.
one should give you a number,
Discretionary.
Hugh, on the amount of ships in the Navy is because in a few
Fucking
years,
debt
our interest expense is going to be
34
more
trillion.
than our
Yeah,
defense
okay,
budget.
that's the
So
number.
no one can give you that number realistically without
Boy,
first
y'all stop
tackling
talking.
what's happening with the financial
Look at him
situation. It would be a
talking,
false
shooting
number
the
to give you
shit.
that. We have
You'd be
got
like,
to
you
understand
fucking
Look at
listen to
this
this
broad.
lady?
This fucking
is a
broad
crisis.
talking over
It
you.
is a national security
Who does she
concern.
think she
If
is?
we don't deal with what's going to happen with that interest
You hear what I
expense
said
in a
about
few
fucking
years, we're
DeSantis'
going to look like
heels?
Japan, and we can't let that happen. The strong dollar matters.
Ambassador,
Fucking
thank
funny,
you very
man.
much. Kristen.
Fucking funny.
Americans could see their Social Security benefits drastically cut in the next decade because the program
That's
is
what they
running out
want.
of money.
Yeah, that's
Former
what they
President Trump has
want.
said, quote, under no circumstances should Republicans cut entitlements. Governor Christie, first to you. You have proposed raising the retirement age for younger Americans.
Well,
What
first
would
of all, we
that
need to
age
stop
be
calling them
specifically, and would you
entitlements.
consider making any other reforms to Social Security?
Sure, and we have to deal with this problem.
Call the
Now,
dividend.
look, if we raise the retirement age a few years for folks that are in their 30s and 40s, I have a son who's in the audience tonight who's 30 years old. If he can't adjust to
He
a
is
few year
never getting
increase
Social
in
Security.
Social Security retirement age over the next 40 years, I got bigger problems with him than his Social Security payments.
Don't worry.
The fact
we won't
is,
have to
we
be
need to
accountable
be
to these
realistic
people.
about this. There are only three things that go into determining whether Social Security can be
I won't have
solvent
to
or
deal
not.
with my son in 40
Retirement
years
age,
because I'll be long
eligibility
dead.
for the program in general, and taxes. That's it. We are already overtaxed in
Yep.
this country, and we should not raise those taxes.
No, we are
We are-
not.
Eligibility
Actually,
also.
we are not.
I don't know if out there tonight,
We are
and if you're
terribly
watching
undertaxed.
Warren, I don't
We
know
are
if Warren
really
Buffett is
badly
collecting Social
undertaxed.
Security,
It's half our
but if he
fucking
is,
problem.
shame on you. You shouldn't be taking the money.
The
There
poor
are a lot
people
of
are taxed
programs in this
adequately,
country
and
that we
everyone
all
else
pay
is just
for
not taxed at all.
that we don't get
That's
a
the fucking
direct
problem.
benefit from. Food stamps is one of them. I've never, fortunately in my life, ever had me or my family on food stamps. But I'm glad it's there.
Yeah, you've been
So that
hosing
no one
the
in this
taxpayer
country
your
goes
whole
to bed
fucking
hungry
adult
at night
life.
if they have availability to that program.
been paying
They
your
don't
groceries.
get a
Shut down
direct
a-
benefit.
He got to
The
shut
fact
down a
is, on
bridge.
Social
He
Security,
doesn't
remember
need food
why it was
stamps.
established. It was established as a safety net program to make sure that no one would grow
We
old in
need
this
a
country in
safety
poverty.
net.
That's what we got to get back to. Rich people
it
should
is
not
necessary
be collecting
now.
Social Security.
Governor, can you give me a specific age, 69, 70? What would the age be?
No, look, that's going to be a part of
105.
the negotiation with Congress, Kirsten. And
200.
I'm not going to
That's
start
a nice
negotiating
round
until I
number.
get there.
All right, Ambassador Haley.
I round up from
let me have you
100.
weigh in on this
France
because
moved
you
their
said in
retirement
June
age
that
up
you would be
5
open to
years
raising
and had,
the retirement age.
protests
Have you determined what that age
Let's
would be
see what happens.
specifically, and what other
Well, here we
reforms
go.
are you
How about
looking at?
So
every
first of all, any
one
candidate that
of
tells you
three
that they're not gonna
generations
take
of a
on
family,
entitlements
that person
is
gets
not
Social
being
Security.
serious. Social Security will go bankrupt in 10 years. Medicare will go bankrupt
Yeah,
in
put
8.
more money into
Right
it, you
now,
fucking
have Ron
idiots.
Because
and
you
Trump
have a cap,
joining
you
Biden and
dumbasses.
Pelosi saying they're
Lift
not
the
gonna
cap.
change or
Lift
do any
the
sort of
cap.
entitlement reform.
Stop stealing
What we
from
need to
Social
do is keep
Security.
our
Maybe
promises.
switch the
Those
sa-
that
the
have
mil-
promised
blaming
should
Social
keep it. But
Security.
for, like,
Switch
my
the
kids in
military
their
budget
20s,
with Social
you go and
Security
you
for,
say, we're
like,
gonna change the
5
rates, you
years.
change the retirement
A
age for them.
year,
Instead of
even.
cost
Yeah,
of living
that'll be fine.
increases, we should go to increases based on inflation. We should limit benefits
Limify.
on the wealthy. Bernie Marcus can tell you he hates
Limitify.
getting that check. Limit the benefits on the wealthy, and then expand Medicare Advantage plans. Seniors love that, and let's make sure we do that.
They
so
love
they can have more
it.
competition.
The
That's how we'll
Advantage
deal with
plan
entitlement
is like
reform,
they
and
have to
that's how
pay
we'll
for
start
that
to pay
shit.
down
They
this
don't
debt.
love
Can
it.
you
They have to
really
pay for it.
$500
Have you
a
determined
month.
the age?
Yeah.
Again,
Really
you have
bad.
to work with Chris. What I can tell you is you can. It's
My-
going to be
my
those in their
parents are going
20s
to be
just
on
coming into the
Medicare
system,
soon.
and it should
And
reflect
it's
more of life
insane
expectancy. It doesn't do
what
that
they
now.
have to
All
go
right, Mr.
through.
Ramaswamy, have you determined
Oh,
if
They
you
have
would
they have
Ramaswamy.
counselors
Social Security?
for
What, if any, reforms are you looking at?
Medicare.
So this is
they
really
have
important right
counselors.
now. We're
here we
working
go.
within the last window I
Oh.
believe we will have to actually fix this problem
I'm
while
gonna
still leaving
pause.
Social
Here we
Security
go.
and Medicare
I bet you it's
benefits for current
fascist.
seniors intact. I'll tell you how. The other candidates assume, like Nikki, that it can't be done, and on her math, she's right about it. But her math assumes $7 trillion of our $33 trillion national debt going to fight wars like in places like Iraq and Afghanistan. Minus that, our national debt would be $26 trillion right now. Then you go to zero-based budgeting, which I've proposed as a CEO. It's how I've run businesses. It's how many CEOs run businesses.
That's how businesses get
Don't
run into
use
the
last
ground.
year's budget as the baseline. Start with
Hope you don't run the
zero
business
as
like
the
your fucking
baseline,
hairline.
and then ask what's actually necessary. 75% headcount reduction. Yes,
You're
that
right
is
in a way,
severe.
yeah.
In the number of
Remind
federal
me about
employees
this
in the
when it
Washington,
goes to
D.C.
commercials. I'll
bureaucracy.
explain why he's
Shut down
wrong.
redundant agencies that
Excellent.
should not exist. deliver
Yeah,
economic
like the
growth
IRS.
as a positive tailwind. I think we can get to 3, 4, maybe even 5% GDP growth if we really take the regulatory shackles off of our economy.
Yeah.
And against that
Who
backdrop,
needs
I
air?
believe this is our last best window to be able to take care of our national debt problem through those severe measures, including sacrificing the foreign wars that many bloodthirsty members of both parties have a hunger for. That's the one secret for how we're going to be able to do this, and that requires discipline. So we can't have the first conversation we were having, sending foreign aid
That's
willy-nilly
not how you handle
to
a country.
countries whose
It's
Yeah,
not.
dude.
It's not. You don't
per
treat it like your
capita
personal
is less
fucking
than
bank
ours.
account. You
Thank
dumb.
you.
It's not even how you handle a
This is our
business.
last window,
Yeah.
and it'll take a CEO from the next generation to do it.
Thank you very much. Senator Scott, weigh in here. What are you looking at to keep Social Security sustainable?
The bottom line is a simple one. We have to grow our economy and cut our spending. Let me just say to my mama and to every other mama or grandfather receiving Social
you call her
Security,
mother.
as President of the United States, I will protect your Social Security. The fact is that we're spending today about $1.1 trillion on Social Security, about $750 billion on Medicare, about $300 billion on Medicaid, about $400 billion on veterans benefits, $1.7 trillion on annual appropriations. If we're going to actually tame this
How about you take the veterans out of the Medicaid budget and put them into the military budget?
Into a program that deserve their money coming back
they're
out to them.
veterans from the
way
military.
you deal with it is, number one, you have to grow your economy. My plan, Made in America, creates 10 million new jobs, grows our economy at 5%. By doing so, you add trillions of dollars of economic activity and billions of dollars to your treasury. Number two, you have to cut taxes. When we cut taxes in 2017, I wrote the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act.
Cut the military
said,
spending.
well, guess what?
It's the wrong
Revenue will go
idea.
down. Well, in 2018, after we wrote it in 2017, what happened? Revenue went up by 3%, and the next year it went up by another 3%. So what we know is that the Laffer curve still works, but the lower the tax, the higher the revenue. And finally, if we're going to deal with it, we have to take our annual appropriations back to pre-2020,
That is literally not true.
levels of spending, which would save us about $500 billion in the next budget window. By doing that, we deal with Social Security
It's just like
and
mathematically
our mandatory
false.
spending.
Thank you, Senator. Very quickly, would you raise the retirement age? Would you be open to raising the retirement age, or do you rule that
He's
out?
not going to answer.
All you have
He's
to
not
do
going to
is
answer.
go to
All you have
He's
to
not
do
answering.
in Iowa and watch the hard work and the dedication.
Yes or
You
no?
and I
Not
Yo,
had a
answering. It's
conversation.
not an
Yes or
answer.
no?
Yo, I
No,
love
but
Iowa,
going-
but fuck
listen to this
Iowa. They should
before
not
you
be
go
in
on.
charge of
Thank
our
you.
American
The fact of the
politics.
matter is that the more
They're not the fucking
physical
barometer
your
of the
labor,
country.
I know.
a year or 2 or 3 more is actually challenging to the physical body. You and I might have a different perspective, but for those farmers, they're working night and day.
Thank you, Senator. I appreciate it.
They
Governor
literally
DeSantis,
don't
finally
work
to you,
night
would
and
you
day.
be
The
open
field's
to
only
raising
there
the retirement age, and how would you keep Social Security
so long.
sustainable?
The
They're not
government
working
is
the
As governor
field
of
all
Florida,
winter.
I know a few people on Social Security, and I know it's important.
Yeah, they're called
My
your
grandmother
employees.
lived till 91, and Social Security was her sole source of income, and that's true for a lot of seniors.
You're a fucking
throughout this
millionaire and your
country. So
fucking
I'd say to
Grammy
seniors at
was
America,
on fucking- all right.
promise made, promise kept. I understand what you're going through with the rising prices, and you need that Social Security check.
Triton,
So we'll
can
make
you
sure
look
to
up
get
how
that
much
done.
DeSantis is
What
worth?
can you do to help shore up Social Security?
I'm
One
on
of the
it.
things
Thank you.
that's causing problems is the inflation. We have to reduce inflation. When you have higher inflation, the seniors get a cost of living adjustment, which means the program's spending more, but it doesn't cover the increase in the actual inflation
What's his
rate.
plan for
We
reducing
also
inflation?
do need to get to at least 3% growth. You're never going to be able to have issues be able to solve the budget without that. But I would
3%
note
growth
this.
is the problem.
Congress for decades took money from Social Security. Social Security would have more tax
And that's why
revenue
you
than
ran
it put
for
out.
Congress
They
to
would
stop
take
them,
it
right?
and then they'd write an
Yeah,
IOU
right.
to Social Security. Congress
DeSantis
has
is
a
worth
lot of
about
dirty hands on
maybe
this.
$1.5
I'm going
million.
to force Congress to stop spending
But
so
enough
much
for
money.
that Grammy could
And
have
you know,
some
one
money,
thing we have
right?
to talk about
Yeah,
the
he can
retirement
throw
age is
Graham
just
a
something that's
25K.
changed in the last 4 or 5 years. Life expectancy in the United States is declining
So,
in
Governor,
this
yes
country.
or no? Would you raise it? Would you raise the
I
retirement
fucking
age?
wonder
When
why.
life expectancy is declining, I don't see how you could raise it the other direction. So it's one thing to peg it on life expectancy, but we have had a significant decline in life expectancy in this
So
country,
you
and
rule
that's
it
just
out.
the fact.
All right, Governor DeSantis, thank you. Thank you,
Life
candidates. And we will be
expectancy.
right back after a quick break from Miami, Florida.
Because children are dying younger and younger and at greater rates. Our infant mortality is ridiculous.
Well, I mean, as long as the
It's-
kids can get their AK-47s into the school, you don't have to worry about Medicaid and Medicare.
Okay.
It's
that's
a
why
problem that we don't have to worry about long term.
They need World War III so that they could get poor people to sign up for the military so they all just die in the Middle East.
Yeah,
there we
it's
go.
not like the VA is going to do anything for veterans anyway. So
Yeah,
See, that's the beauty of his foreign policy plan is it gets rid of all those pesky young workers looking for higher wages. You promise them college and a little bit of money in the military. You send them to the desert, and when
now
they come
have
back,
debt.
well, no, they won't have the debt because they figured out from Biden that the loan forgiveness is never going to happen. So we promised them the military route. So then we send them over to the desert so that they can get blown to pieces. So that the pieces that survive when they come back home to the States, we'll just treat them like garbage. And when they have mental health issues, we'll have the police kill them on the streets because we don't care about the mental health of the citizenry. We just care about lower gas prices. Think about the long term, guys.
And books.
Well, we don't need all those extra books. We need lower fuel costs for the everyday person. That's what's most important. Who cares about your fellow man? I'm talking $20 fill-ups for your car or truck. I mean, you could fill up your truck for $30. Who cares about other people's rights and humanities as long as we get cheaper fill-ups? That's the whole point of this. Fuck getting a smaller car. Get a bigger car because we're just going to impoverish more people across the world to get you that gas as cheap as possible. Even though you're being taxed way less than every other country around you. Canada is taxed higher. Mexico is taxed higher. Puerto Rico has higher fuel taxes than the United States. But fuck all that. We'll just blow up everywhere else until our gas is so cheap that you can drive a Yukon or an Excursion getting 4 to 5 miles per gallon, but still only paying $20 to fill up your tank. Isn't that the America we all want?
Yes.
Yes.
By the way, wealthy people are not getting gas guzzlers anymore. They're getting the electric cars like the Teslas. So they don't even give a shit about the actual gasoline that people are putting in their cars.
They also, if they buy Teslas, they don't actually care about the environment. So,
To be fair, Tim, the Tesla's already built.
No, I'm saying
that bell's already. I'm sorry, naturalists and people who think that, that's going to be bad for the environment. I agree. However, it is already made.
I get it
already.
God forbid that car ever catch on fire because it's impossible to put out.
Sure, that's blown up. You know how you put it out? You don't put more shit on it that catches on fire. That's how you put the fire out. You let it burn out like a fire does.
Very quickly.
Oh, yeah.
The reason why Vivek is wrong about zero-based budgeting is if you implement zero-based budgeting, what happens very often is that the departments will spend every dollar they have so that they can get the same amount of money again and justify their spending.
Right, because if they don't spend any of that money, it will be seen as excess or waste, and then we can just cut that from the budget next year.
Right.
Which is a business.
They'll spend every money
how businesses work.
Yeah. They'll spend every dollar they have and waste money to spend money
just so
they get their budget.
Just so their funding doesn't get cut. And we're back.
The burden on states from
I'm gonna go smoke.
Fuck you, Hugh Hewitt.
States from the southwestern border.
Mikey, do his voice again.
Let's talk about opioids specifically and fentanyl.
Take that back.
Tens of thousands of American families.
Young people sometimes die taking one pill.
One
What
pill.
can you do as commander-in-chief on the first day?
The commander-in-chief of fentanyl.
Waterfall
This is so
into this
stupid.
country?
Number one, we should close our southern border for $10 billion.
Oh my God.
Drink.
For an additional $5 billion, we could use the currently
I'm out of
available
alcohol.
military technology to surveil our southern border to stop fentanyl from crossing our
I like
border.
this cookie.
I've already led on legislation that
Tim is
would sanction the Mexican cartels. If you remember the past,
Right on, Beck. I see what you're saying, but I'm just not going to read it.
China, then they are manufactured in Mexican labs, and then the Mexican cartels bring them across our border. By sanctioning their accounts and eliminating their cash, we starve them of what they need, number one.
They make way more money on fentanyl than marijuana.
The military
How about hold the pharmaceutical companies accountable?
How about Brenna's not on camera and no one said anything?
1,000 deaths.
What?
In the last
Damn it,
12 months
Brenna.
because of fentanyl.
I'm gonna screen cap that later.
Allows us to deal with the
Timestamp.
human
What's the timestamp?
trafficking
132:04. Got
that
it.
is entering in our country in the same
Mikey
path.
just doesn't love
if
me,
we are
so-
going to deal
Oh, I love you the most. That's why I'm going to show you the. That's why I'm going to give you the most freedom
in our country,
when I liberate this show.
70,000 that is directly
Freedom
linked to
isn't free.
fentanyl. We have to deal with our ports
Freedom
of entry
isn't
and
free.
deal with
Yeah,
our
Brenna,
southern
he's
border.
gonna give you the
If we
freedom, and
do
he's
that
gonna put me in some
effectively,
sort of
we have
cage.
started reducing
We've
the
already
challenge
discussed
on
And
the
was in a
outside,
box.
and then we have to deal with the challenge on the
He's
inside.
gonna make me.
There seems to be
He's just gonna make me
to
do the
admit
show
that
over and over and
crisis
over and
that is
over.
spreading
It
through our
amuses me.
nation.
Governor Christie,
I will show up when I
mentioned
can.
ports of entry. 90% of the fentanyl that is seized in the United States is seized at ports of entry. We don't know what's
Your name
coming
of
in
the show,
across the
Speaking
open
from the
southern border.
Cage.
You've been a United States attorney. You've taken on
Somebody stole his
cartels.
top lip
Can
too.
It really be
You
done
Hewitt,
quickly?
where
What would
you
you
lip?
do as president?
It can be done quickly in
Be
in
careful
two ways,
about
Hugh, on
what you
fentanyl.
say about the gays.
The first way is exactly as
Idris
you
Elba.
suggest that ports of
I
entry.
goes where I goes.
We have to beef up what our law enforcement
That's
has
not
in terms of
funny.
technology. I would
I
It's
never
pushed
do
it.
that as
I pushed it like
president.
30 seconds ago. I was just
We
waiting
need
for it to
make
go.
sure that law enforcement has every tool at its disposal to do it. Secondly, on
No.
day one,
Law
I would sign an
enforcement.
executive order.
Not
that
the
said
cops.
The National
They
Guard
think if they
partner
touch
with
fentanyl, they'll
Customs and Border
die.
Patrol, both
I
at
smelled
ports of
it and
entry
my whole
and at the
squad
open ports
passed
of our
out.
border. Customs and Border Patrol agents are overwhelmed. There's 200,000 encounters a month over the last 11 months. We simply do not have the man and woman power at the border to be able to deal with it. And
woman power.
dealing with
Woman,
both
yeah,
law
there's at
enforcement
least
and-
one.
and you're
woman
right, we have
power.
done this. We can do this.
I have
but we gotta
binders.
give
Nikki
them the
Haley,
tools to
you
do it, and
go.
technology is one of the
No, they
biggest
just put the
tools
women on
that we
treadmills
don't
to
have
power
enough
the
of at
flashlights.
ports of entry.
Charge all the
Now,
batteries.
we also need to
Women.
lower
We have
demand, Hugh,
women power
in this country.
Oh,
And the
maybe
way to
it's
lower
like
demand is
maybe
to
it's
start
like the
treating
Matrix
people
where the
again.
women are like human batteries, like
started to do
literally
this
woman
before
power.
COVID.
Now you've heard
And
of
we haven't done enough of
horsepower.
it. And for every family out there tonight who has lost a loved one to fentanyl or to any other type of opioid overdose, what you know is all you want is a chance for them to win their lives.
Okay, I'm gonna mute this for or turn them down for a second. So I have a very dear friend. They're like damn near brothers and sisters to me. They lost their little brother. Spud OD'd from fentanyl. So I say all this having literally lost a friend from fentanyl. Family members who've used fentanyl, and I've had to intervene. Like, I'm not saying this out of just some like weirdo callous thing. This has always been a problem. ODing has always been a problem. Why are kids ODing? Because your fucking country is run like shit and they're depressed. Fix it. And they'll stop ODing on drugs.
And it was a fatal overdose. He told me,
That's
obviously, the
You're
pain
taking
of
away the
losing
safety
a
nets that
child is
allow
as bad
them
as
to
it gets. But he said what
express
was salt in
Yeah.
the wounds
Like
is that
TikTok.
these elites in D.C. don't give a damn
books.
about what's going on in this country. They don't care.
Man,
that we
told
have
you about
tens of
books.
thousands
You don't
of
give a
opioid
damn.
deaths that the fentanyl's pouring in. They are not taking the type of action we need to. We're
Much
declaring it a
fentanyl you on
national
right now there,
emergency
Ronnie?
on day one. I'm sending U.S. military to the border. I'm
Ron,
gonna
you're the
stop
governor of the state.
invasion
What have you
cold.
done?
I am going to deport people who came illegally. And
You're
I'm even
not
gonna
a
build the border
deporter,
wall
you're a
and have
president.
Mexico pay for it like Donald Trump promised. How are you going to do it? Yeah, Mexico's not going to fork over money. We're going to impose fees on the remittances that foreign workers send to foreign countries. We'll raise billions of dollars. I'll build the wall. But we are going to
So the
designate
money
the
that people
cartels
are
to be
coming
foreign
over
terrorist organizations or
and
something
working and then
similar to
sending
that.
back home,
And we're gonna
he wants to
authorize
put
the
a
use of deadly
remittance
force.
on that.
We're going to have maritime operations to interdict
barely
precursor chemicals
anything.
going into
They
Mexico.
don't even make a
I'll
fair
tell you
fucking
this,
wage,
if
and you
someone
wanna
in the
take
drug
it from them.
cartels is sneaking
Yeah.
fentanyl across the border when I'm president, that's going to be the last thing they do. We're going to shoot them
They're
stone
not
cold dead.
sneaking fentanyl.
We're
over
gonna
the
shoot
border.
them stone cold
He
dead.
just said he was gonna murder people.
Yes.
That's against TOS to say that you're gonna S people with a G.
Uses special forces
Yeah,
in
right.
Mexico without prior
Arrest
notice
him.
to the Mexican
He's gonna get
allies
us
to our
banned.
south. What would
Hi,
your
I'm
colleagues
Hugh
at the
Hewitt's
United
upper
Nations
lip,
think about
and
that?
I'm not
I
on
don't
the
care
show
what my
today.
colleagues at the United Nations
No.
think. What I'll tell you is
Hello, I'm Nikki Haley's upper lip, and I'm also not here.
we have to go to the source. We have
My
lost
upper
more
lip.
Americans than the Vietnam, Afghanistan, and Iraq wars combined. We lost 75,000 Americans last year. Go to the source. It is the reason why we'll continue to say
What's the
we
source?
will end all
The pharmaceutical
normal trade
companies?
relations with China until they stop murdering
God
Americans.
damn
You
it.
watch how quick that
The
flow
real
stops.
mental health
The
issues
second thing
that
is
we
we'll
have
send
in this
special
country that
operations
need
in
to
to
be
take out the
addressed at a
cartels.
younger and younger
We need to go
age.
to where they're
No,
distributing
do they
it, where the
think
supply
China is
centers
just
are, and
dropping
take
this
them
shit
out.
off
We'll
in
put
boats?
25,000
No, someone's
more
Yeah.
purchasing
Patrol and
this.
ICE agents on the
No,
ground
that's what
and let
literally.
them do their
That's
job.
what they believe.
We
They
will
just ship it over
defund
in boats.
sanctuaries
Someone
And then
picks it
kids
up.
find, and then
Back
kids
to the
find
Remain
a
Mexico
sailboat
policy
full
so
of
that everybody
fentanyl
stays
and
in
share it
then
with
they
their 1,000
distribute
friends.
them
Yeah.
during Halloween trick or treating.
Catch and release.
Yeah, did you guys hear any
Instead of
fentanyl
catch and
reports this
release,
year
we'll
for
go to
Halloween?
catch and
I
deport.
didn't.
That is the way we'll deal with
That
the border.
shit's expensive.
Those are the
You don't
things that
give
we
that
have
away
to
for
do going
free.
forward. But I do agree with Chris. One of the first things that we have to do is really focus on mental health
I
and
spent
addiction
$8,000
centers.
because
It
I wanted
is
to get the whole
something that is
neighborhood high with
needed
fentanyl
in
candy.
our country terribly because we
That's what
don't
everybody
deal
does.
with mental health.
This is
And
my
someone
biggest
who
problem
doesn't
with
get care for
every
mental health falls into
politician.
addiction.
Everyone
And we
says
owe it to them
mental
to treat it
health
like the cancer that it is.
and
Mr. Ramaswamy.
and addiction
Special
services.
forces in
No one
Mexico
actually does
shoot them
anything
stone cold dead at the
ever.
border.
One thing I just
Or
want to say,
it's super fucking religious fucking
Yeah.
organizations
Yes.
who have like a
Yeah.
main church, and then they splinter off with these health groups where they just funnel people into their church body and claim that it's
That have
addiction
actually
help.
Not even
nothing
call
to
that an
do with
overdose,
mental
right?
health
That is not an
services
overdose.
and addiction
That is
help.
They're not
poisoning.
trained or
If you put
anything.
that
They have
fentanyl
no
in a Big
degrees
Mac,
in
we would not
psychology.
call that
They
an
just
overdose.
talk.
You'd call it what it is. It's closer to bioterrorism. And I say that because
Bio?
it uniquely relates to this crisis
Ugh.
that does warrant more aggressive means to deal with it.
Yeah.
So there's a new presidential
Mary
election
Joseph.
in Mexico in 2024. People may not be aware of that. It's going to be someone other than Obrador, who has been a disaster in Mexico. I think he's even mentioned me obliquely in speeches to say that somebody who would do this.
Hey, he
shouldn't
even
get anywhere
talks
near the
about me,
White House.
guys. Did you hear him
and
talk
we'll-
about me? He talked about me,
Someone
guys.
else in charge. I hope
Someone
that
that
we
won
have
an
a good
election talks
relationship
about
with the next president of Mexico. We'll use our
I asked
own
him what's it
military
like.
to seal our own southern border.
I
What
wanna
we need to
win
do is
so
stop
bad.
using our military to protect somebody else's border halfway around the world
Spin it.
when we're
Spin it.
short right here
Ooh,
at
he
home.
wants to start a war
Get
with
serious about protecting
Mexico.
this border. And then the other thing
Again.
that hasn't been discussed is the northern border.
See,
I'm the only
they
candidate
want
on
war
the
with
stage
Iran.
Northern border. Here we
who has
go.
actually
Lebanon.
visited the northern border.
Gaza.
There
There
we
was
go.
enough fentanyl
Mexico.
that was captured just on the northern border last year
Canada,
to kill
sure.
3 million Americans. So we can just skate to where the puck is going, not just where the puck
Wait,
is.
no, not
Don't
Russia.
just
We like
build the wall, build both walls. Can't just
Sir-
complete the wall, use the military to
What?
seal the
Yo,
Swiss
fuck
cheese
Alaska.
for the
Just
tunnels that they're
build
actually building
all
underneath that
walls.
wall.
Thank you,
That's
Mr.
what we keep
Ramaswamy.
I'm gonna
practical
I'll
to get this job
have
done.
Alaska.
Tim, I got a new T-shirt
We
idea.
don't want it. We don't
I
want
gotta
Alaska.
Give it
I
back
need
to
a fucking.
Russia.
I need a
Let's talk now about
Ramaswamy
last night's election results.
image.
Abortion rights supporters saw
Build
victories in
both
Ohio
walls.
and Virginia following earlier wins in states like Kansas
Abortion
and
rights.
Kentucky. Governor
Fuck
DeSantis,
you, Alaska.
first
You're
to
not
you,
getting in.
How do you see the path forward for Republicans
Quiet,
on
all
this
of you.
issue?
Well, I stand for a culture of life, and I understand
Oh,
that it's
fuck you.
important that everyone gets a shot. I'm reminded of a story about a young mother who was struggling
I'm
in Jamaica
reminded of a
about
story
40 years ago,
about,
45 years ago. She was counseled to not have a baby.
Unless
Is it bad that I'm
Unless
listening?
she was poor,
You're an
baby wouldn't have
immigrant.
opportunity. And she came close to have an abortion, but she decided to have the baby born poor in Jamaica. And the reason I know that story is because that baby girl ended up emigrating to the state of Florida, becoming a lawyer and a judge, and I appointed her to the Florida Supreme Court in August of 2022. We're better off when everybody
Wow,
counts.
great
We're
anecdotal
better off
story.
when we can promote a culture
That doesn't
of life.
prove
At the same
anything, you
time,
dumbass.
I understand
We do
that
not
some
care.
of these states
Next.
are doing it a little bit different. Texas is not going to do it the same as New Hampshire. Iowa's not necessarily going to do it the same as Virginia. So you got to work from the bottom up. You got to do a better job on these referenda. I think of all the stuff that's happened to the pro-life
Bottom up, huh?
cause. They have been caught flat-footed on these referenda, and they have been losing the referenda. A lot
What do
of
you
the
mean? They're
people
the
who
ones
are
that created the
voting for
referendums
referenda
in the
are
most
Republicans
cases.
who would vote for a Republican candidate. So you got to understand how to do that. But let's just be clear. The
If they
Democrats
wrote a
have taken
referendum that
position
they got caught
will
flat-footed
not
on
identify
politically,
the point at
then
which
they're
there should
fucking
be
idiots.
any protection all the way up until birth. That is wrong, and we cannot stand for that.
All right, Governor DeSantis, thank you. Ambassador
Wrong.
Haley, let me
I
have you
hate
weigh
these
in. Former
people
President
so
Trump has
much.
consistently blamed the abortion issue and how Republican candidates have talked about it for their electoral losses.
We do not care.
How do you see the path forward?
You know, I've said it before. I think you have to be honest with the American people. This is a personal issue for every woman and every man. I'm
Yes.
unapologetically pro-life, not because the
Fuck
Republican
you.
Party tells me to be, but because my husband Michael was adopted and I had trouble having both of my children. So I'm surrounded by blessings. Having said that, when you look post-Roe, a wrong was made right. They took it out of the hands of unelected justices and they put it in the hands of the people.
I've
And now
eaten
we're
the whole
seeing
cookie
states
now,
vote.
and
And what I'll tell you is,
Yeah.
as much
Boy.
as I'm pro-life,
Welcome.
I don't judge anyone for
Happy,
being
happy,
pro-choice,
happy
and I
Tim.
don't want them to judge me for being pro-life. So when we're looking at this, there are some states that are going more
I'd
on
like
the
to
pro-life
straddle the
side.
middle.
I welcome that. There's some states that are going more on the pro-choice side. I wish that wasn't the case, but the people decided.
But
when it comes to
you're
the federal
creating a
law, which is
country
what's
where
being
some
debated
places
here,
have more rights
be
than
honest,
others.
It's going to take 60 Senate votes, a majority of the House, and a president to sign it. So no, we haven't had 60 Senate votes in over 100 years. We might have 45 pro-life
Well, the
senators.
Republicans
So
haven't,
no
because the
Republican
Democrats had that
president can
15 years
ban
ago.
Abortions any more than a Democrat president can
Republicans
ban
will
these
never
state
have that
laws. So
again.
let's find consensus. Let's agree on how we can ban late-term abortions. Let's make sure we encourage adoptions
No
and
clapping.
good quality
No
adoptions.
hooting or
Let's
hollering.
make sure we make contraception accessible. Let's make sure that none
this
of
is
these
not
state
gonna
laws
go
put a woman
over
in
with
jail or
the-
give her the death penalty
let's
for getting
steal
an
the
abortion.
Democrats'
Let's
idea.
focus on
It
how
works
to
for
save as
them.
many babies as we can.
Yeah,
and
the
support
moral
as many
right
moms
thing to
as we
fucking
can.
do.
And
Yeah.
stop the judgment. We don't need to divide America over this issue anymore.
But it's literally, that's what's happening. That's literally what's happening. It's what you're doing.
Don't touch my wife's pussy. How about
Pretty
that?
decent cheers in the crowd there.
I'm gonna get that on a t-shirt.
How do you see the path forward, and what do you make of what Ambassador Haley just said? Do you see this as a consensus issue?
Well, I'm 100% pro-life. I have had 100% pro-life.
I'm
voting
1,000%
record.
pro-life.
He's also never had sex, but whatever.
I'm 100% pro-life.
Is it the lack of chin?
They're pro-life until they can bomb them.
Everybody knows that to have sex, you have to have a chin.
I certainly wouldn't allow,
Or they can
not
send
allow
them
for
back
governors, former
their
governor,
country
Democratic
that will
governor of Virginia,
murder
who
them.
talked about infanticide.
Try to move your mic a little bit, Brennan. You're
You're
fading in and out.
15-week
Is
federal
this better?
limit. 3 out of 4
Yes.
Americans.
Do you love
agree
this?
with
There
a
plenty of things that
15
got me wrong, but that doesn't make it
50 countries in Europe agree with a 15-week limit. I would challenge both Nikki and Ron
Ooh.
to join me.
Do you see
at
the
a
word change that just
15-week
happened there?
limit.
It's no
It
longer a
is in our
15-week
nation's
ban.
best
It's a
interest.
15-week
And
limit.
frankly, I think
Makes it
it's
sound less harsh.
unethical and immoral to allow for abortions up until the day of birth. We have an opportunity.
No one has ever done that.
in
No one
this
has ever done that.
nation
Ever.
to stop that reckless behavior from states like California, New York, and Illinois. I go a step further.
Reckless.
In my
You're
parents' plan,
reckless.
we
Your
start
own
by
state
talking
doesn't
about
do that.
But
You're
those
stupid.
policies
block
are
granting
so
resources to crisis
unpopular
pregnancy centers.
that even
We should
fucking
support adoption.
Ohio
There are a number of ways that we
voted
can
Brenna,
say
against
to
the
the
ban.
expected
Stop
mother
being
that
reckless.
we stand with you. We should not only be pro-life before the child is born, we should be pro-life after the child is born. Just as
Someone
much.
had to say
Senator
it.
Scott, thank you. Ambassador Haley, your name was invoked. Would you support a 15-week federal limit?
I would support
Ban.
anything that would pass.
Call it
because
a ban.
That's
That's
what
what
would
it
save more
is.
babies and support more moms. But
Not-
you have to be
no,
honest with the
it's-
American
No,
people, and
no,
I appreciate that
no.
Tim keeps calling me
No.
out for this. But Tim,
you, it's
there was a bill last year. Lindsey Graham sponsored it. You
Whoa,
didn't
is she
even
talking to me?
co-sponsor the bill. And then when you first were interviewed on this, when
No,
you ran,
she's talking
you
to the
wouldn't
tool
even
man.
say you were for 15
Oh,
weeks. What
she
I'm
said
saying to
Tim.
the American people is,
just not
let's
true.
see
Other
what
Tim.
we can
Lots of
agree
Tims up there,
on.
buddy.
Let's bring people together and decide what we can agree
She's
on.
got to clarify.
I
She's
will
got to
sign
say like
anything where we
Senator
can get
Scott or
60 Senate
something.
votes, but don't
But
make
like
the American
if
people
she said
think
Ollie, I
that you're gonna
actually think
push
she was
something
talking to
on
me
them
because there's
when
so
we
few
don't
of
even
us.
have the votes in the
But
Senate.
Tim,
It's
no, you
important
can't think
that we're
that, dude.
honest about that.
Let me go to Mr. Ramaswamy. Would you support a 15-week federal ban? And what
No,
is the
'cause he's a
path forward on this
fascist.
I
issue,
just wanted
Mr.
to say, I mean, I think Nikki Haley did invoke being honest, and I at least want to give credit to Tim Scott. He's honest about where he stood, and I think you should be honest, not making a political calculus, but to say, if a bill is served up, would you sign it? Here's my view on this. Speaking as a man, they say men have trouble
Ooh,
speaking on
she's
this issue.
fucking
I don't
staring
think we need to
daggers
be
at
that way.
him.
It was my home state of Ohio. I'm upset about this yesterday. That passed a constitutional amendment that now effectively
go Ohio,
codifies a
fuck you.
right to
Go
abortion
Ohio.
all the way up to the time of birth without parental consent. Why? It's back to that Republican culture of losing. The Republicans did not have an
Yeah, because you all are
amendment or
losers.
vision on the table. I know Ohio. I was born, raised, and I lived there. It's representative of the country. If in the state of Ohio we talked about access to contraception, adoption, and also here's the missing ingredient in this
Ohio's
movement,
a little too close to
sexual
Canada for me.
responsibility for men. We live in an era of reliable
They're
genetic
this
paternity
close.
tests that are 100% reliable. So we can say men
They're this
deserve more
close.
responsibility. So we can tell women we're
But then,
all in
boom,
this
the
together.
other
It's
direction.
not men's rights versus women's rights. It's about human rights. And I come back to that case that Clarence Thomas spoke of. A pregnant woman walking down the street. She's assaulted. The unborn child dies in that assault. You find me one person in this country who says that that criminal does not deserve liability for that death. You won't find one.
That's
That
apples
says
and
we
oranges,
share the
bro.
same instincts on this issue.
So then are
Require,
Republicans
I believe, a
responsible
different
for all the
generation
women
of
that are
leaders
dying
to
because they
actually
can't
move
get
forward and
medical
unite the
care?
country on
Like,
this.
because
Thank you.
yeah, that argument, y'all are culpable.
Governor Christie, as you know,
Boy,
federal limits
I
are
fucking hate
important
that
to a lot
guy.
of Republicans.
Oh.
Where
I
do
do
you
too.
stand on this issue?
I told
and
you,
what
they
is
get
the
this
path
close.
forward for Republicans?
And then
For
they go,
50
whoop,
years,
the other
conservative
direction.
lawyers have been arguing that the federal government should have absolutely nothing to do with this issue constitutionally because it's nowhere in the Constitution. And then Dobbs comes and we finally gain that victory, which was the creation of a constitutional right out of thin air that didn't exist. And now we have people running to say, let's short circuit the states from doing what they need to do, and let's go right to some type of federal ban at a certain number of weeks. And people on the stage have been all over the place, 20 weeks, 15 weeks, 12, 6. Look, the Frowners were really smart. And this is an issue that should be decided in each
That's
state.
debatable.
He
but
would
sure.
get a
And
lot
I
of
trust
approval
the
right
people
now
of
if
this
he
country,
suddenly came out against
state by state,
banning
to make the
abortions.
call for themselves. Now, it's going to lead to a lot of divergence. In Oklahoma, you
But
can't
not
get an
amongst
abortion unless the
people that
life of
would
the
help
mother
him
is at
win his
risk.
primary.
In my home state of
No.
New Jersey,
Right.
it goes up to 9 months that you get an abortion. I find that
That's
morally
not
reprehensible.
fucking true, bro.
But that
I'm
is
gonna
what
look it
the
up
people
right
of
now.
our state have voted for.
It's
And
probably
we
for
should
the
not
health of the
short
mother.
circuit that process
Yeah.
until every state
And it's probably
have
medical
the right
care.
to weigh in on it. But here's the bigger
Which
issue,
is
Kirsten.
which nobody
bigger
talks
issue is,
about it
and Tim
as
began to touch on this,
medical
we're
care.
not pro-life for the whole
Up
life.
to 9 months.
To be pro-life for the whole
Fucking
life
out of
means
his
that the
mind.
life
Because
of a
there's no actual
16-year-old
set
drug
limit.
addict on the floor of the county lockup
Shit.
is precious, and we should get treatment for her to restore her life. The 52-year-old who's drug addicted should make sure that any of his children who he's passed that addiction on to are treated well too. Pro-life's
Wait,
not
you
just
can
in the
pass
womb,
on an
Kirsten,
addiction through
it's for the
semen?
whole life.
All right, Governor, thank you. Candidates, thank you. We're going to take a final break, and when we come back, we'll
Yeah,
hear from
addiction
all of you
can
with
be
your
genetic.
closing statements. This is the
Oh, I get the-
Susceptible to.
Republican
I
presidential
have
debate. We'll be back right after this.
susceptibility to addiction in my family. So if you fill out a form and said mental health issues, they'll have a bunch of mental health issues like
What the fuck?
schizophrenia. And then one of them is addiction. And so yeah, addiction is part of my family. It's genetically in my family. You can even see it through the addictions of members of the family.
I hear what you're saying, but that's not what he said. He's acting like, oh, I just fucking cranked a bunch of that sweet, sweet crystal. Oh, I'm feeling a little froggy. Ooh, I'm going to have sex with this woman. Aha! Now that I am high when I had sex, now the baby is high forever. Like, that's not how kids work. That's not how that goes, guy.
So
You don't just
the
supercharge your little guys and they just get amazing meth powers on birth. Like, that's not how it works.
The New Jersey State Constitution says, and I quote,
Mhm.
women have a fundamental right to control their body and their destiny. That's what it says in their constitution, which allows for abortions up to legal viability of a fetus. So,
Which is actually most abortion laws allow up to viability. And up to viability means that now the doctor has an obligation to save the child.
and also there is no requirement that a legal or parent guardian be notified about a minor's abortion in New Jersey. It was written in their constitution, and then the New Jersey Supreme Court repealed that. So they tried to do that, but then it got overturned by their Supreme Court.
In California, we have a law that doesn't require any minor to be notified. The managed parents to be notified of an abortion or any other contraception.
Oh,
so if a 14-year-old wants birth control pills, they do not need parental consent.
Well, what if their dad's Ron DeSantis? He's like the smartest person ever. He knows that she doesn't need it.
He's not in California, so I don't give a fuck about him.
What if he travels there?
If he travels there, if his daughter travels here, she is protected. And I will personally protect her. Because that man is a creep.
Oh, look at this. The SAG and the studios have a tentative deal to end the strike.
They're not going to make it.
What you know that we don't know? Give us the word on the street.
Because they haven't yet. They tried yesterday. They tried yesterday and they couldn't get anything.
Brenna lives in Hollywood, don't you remember?
She lives in LA.
I literally follow a ton of people that are currently going through the SAG negotiations, and not a single one of them had said anything about something that's going to be good.
My wife has a client who is an actor in SAG, and he was in a few Marvel projects as like a minor thing. And he said that he believes, from what he's heard from the union, is that the strike won't be over until after January.
Yeah.
That was a week ago.
Real quick, because we're in between. Hi, everybody out there in the chat. I know we haven't been super responsive. Progress only. We see you. Simply Secular Dave. Bex over on YouTube. Breeze on YouTube. Hi, guys.
Hi, everybody.
We love you. We love you.
I like cookies.
Yeah,
Tim is a cookie.
Tim's out of commission.
Tim is having fun.
Tim's
Y'all
out.
just want to take a bite out of Tim.
Little chocolate chip Bristol.
I'm not a cookie.
I'll ask you each to please use your closing statement to focus
Oh,
on any
yeah.
topic
Closing
Finally.
statement.
We made it.
Trump would be
Quick
the party's
drink more.
best choice to tackle these important issues. You each have a minute. Senator Scott, we'll start with you.
This is going to be the longest 5 minutes of my life.
There's a crisis that is growing in our nation, and that
38
crisis
minutes
is
later.
cultural and spiritual. We need a renewal, a great awakening. We should reject the left's valueless, faithless, fatherless society.
Your mama
Fatherless. Did you just say fatherless?
Patriotism.
That's a dog whistle.
Responsibility. We should stop choosing victimhood and start choosing victory. We should stop kneeling in
Victory.
and start kneeling in prayer. There are basic truths
Oh,
that
wow.
build this country.
Man,
Finally,
Able-bodied in
tells us the
America,
truth.
you
what the
work.
fuck is Tim
You take
Scott
it on,
on?
You pay it back.
Same thing that was ruining that guy's sperm.
You go to jail. And if God made you a man, you play sports against men. I do not
Wow.
Audience, please.
I do not just
Transgender people aren't people in my
I
book.
do not just want to win the battle against Joe Biden. I want us together to win the war.
I want to see you go up
the war
against
for our
Joe
Christian
Biden.
conservative
Senator Scott.
values that changed my life.
Senator Scott, thank you.
and built
Governor
this
Christie.
country.
Changed his
That's my
life.
message to you
Shut up.
for your vote.
I almost dropped
up
another
and move
N-word for him.
Vivek's going to be even worse. I don't know.
He almost got
Oh,
another.
good,
For hosting
Christy.
tonight. Listen, it's a gift to be an American. And I'm running for president of the United
That's
States
kind of
because I'm
random,
tired.
actually.
What does that
I'm
have to do
tired of
with
seeing
anything?
the
I was
division.
born here.
I'm tired of
I have
seeing
no
the anger.
choice.
And I could see in the eyes of Americans their exhaustion. Their exhaustion from
Beck
the
says,
petty,
"Suck my non-person
personal
cock."
politics that have taken over this country over
Yes.
the last number of years.
Get him.
I'm running for president to be a president of consequence, to do the big things, to make sure that America's role in the world
Do the big
stays
boy
number one,
things.
that we
Big
stand
things.
up for our friends and
Like shut down
allies
bridges.
around the world, and we stand
down
up for what we
beaches.
believe in right here at home.
What big boys do.
And it's not to eliminate our differences. Our differences has always been our strength.
Just
as a
eliminating
country,
Gaza.
not our weakness. But you can't truly say you love America unless you're ready to open up
Gays,
your heart to every American.
transgender,
I'm going to open up my heart to every American as president, and I will make sure that I return
immigrants,
honesty, integrity
atheists.
to the Oval Office.
Fuck
We deserve
yeah.
and should accept nothing less.
Governor, thank you.
No
very
more.
much.
Yeah,
Let's go to
you know who
Chris
doesn't have
Ramaswamy.
any integrity? Joe Biden.
Your 1 minute.
We've talked a lot about
Versus
foreign
everyone on
wars
the stage
tonight, but we're in the middle
That
of a war
goddamn
right here
Catholic.
at home. It's a war not between black and white or Democrat and Republican. It's between those of us who believe in our founding ideals and love this
brown,
country
dude.
and a fringe minority who hates the United States of America. And
Yeah,
I think it's going to take a
party?
commander-in-chief to lead us to victory in that
The
war.
MAGAs.
Who first
Victory.
of all knows that we're in
Dog
a war.
whistle.
Second of all, can't be captured by the special
Freedom.
interests along the way. But third is from the next generation, somebody with fresh legs to lead us to victory. I'll shut down the deep state. I'll declare economic independence from China. I'll keep us out of World War III, and then revive national pride in this country.
Right.
I also want to close with one message to the Democrat Party. End this farce that Joe Biden is going to be your nominee. We know he's not even the president of the United States. He's a puppet for the managerial class. So have the guts to step up and be honest about who you're actually going to put up so we can have an honest debate. Biden should step aside, end his
How is that
candidacy
guy
now
still on the
so we can see
stage?
whether it's Newsom
Go
or
away,
Michelle Obama
sir.
or whoever else. Just tell us the truth so we can
Your
have
time's
an honest
over.
debate.
Stop it.
Did you
Michelle
just say that
Obama.
like Biden's gonna die, so someone else should run?
You think Michelle Obama is going to take Biden's spot?
Haley, you have 1 minute
I'd vote
for
for
your
Michelle
closing.
Obama.
I'll do
Thank
that.
you.
He would lose in
The
a
world is on
landslide with his
fire.
dumb ass.
We have a war in Europe. We've got a war in the Middle East. We've got China on the march. It is very important that we
fear.
know how to defend
Michelle
our
Obama
freedoms
and
how to
Oprah.
defeat terrorism and socialism.
Done.
We have
And
to know the
Oprah?
difference between good and
Problem
evil.
solved.
We have to
Oprah's
know the
not a
difference between
good-
right and wrong.
Leave Kamala.
We need to know that a strong America doesn't start wars. A strong America prevents
bad.
wars. And the way we can focus
Michelle
on
and
that
Hillary.
is to make sure
Oh.
we go back to the soul of America
You'd
and
be
be
so
strong
mad.
and proud again. And we can't do that. We can't win the fights of the 21st
I like
century
Hillary, but
with
people hate her,
politicians from the
so.
20th century.
Oh, I do.
We have
Yeah.
to move forward.
I understand
and
it,
we can
but
do this.
I don't hate her.
I know we
I'm a
can do
super
this.
predator.
So join our movement. Go to NikkiHaley.com, and we will once again show what America that's
Yo, don't
strong
be
and proud
broadcasting your
looks like.
OF
God
account
bless.
on here.
Ambassador, thank you.
Fuck. Tim's high as shit. Come on, Tim. Stay with us.
Governor DeSantis, your
Tim,
closing in
how many
1 minute.
how many fingers are
We
you thinking
must
of?
reverse our country's decline, and that is
Tim,
going
we
to
love you.
require
You stun locked
leadership.
him.
I will take the hits. I will take the arrows. I will take the barbs.
Tim, you are amongst
Because it's
friends.
not about me. It's about you. It's not about
Good
the
night.
past. It's about
Oh
your
my God.
future.
Smile. I
We are
love you,
going to
Tim.
fight for you. I am going
Wow.
to win for you
What?
and your family.
Oh, we couldn't
I'm
even hear
going to
us.
lead this country's
Wow.
revival. As a veteran of the Iraq War and in the Navy, I will always put service
Bro,
above
He was
you
a
were a
JAG
lawyer.
officer.
You're a
as the
lawyer.
father
That's
of
not a
3 young
veteran.
kids, I'm going to ensure
You
that
literally
this
can't
country
handle
is
the
left
truth.
to the next generation in better shape than we found it. And as the governor of Florida, I delivered
Yeah,
on
by
all my
banning
promises, and you can trust me
Moms
to
for
deliver
liberty.
for you as the president of the United States.
Bro, how
I am
you gonna fight
asking
China?
for your
You couldn't
vote.
even beat Mickey
I'll be
Mouse.
a nominee that will be able to win the election. I will be a leader
Yeah, he
you
got
can be
stomped on
proud
by the
of,
mouse.
And as your president,
He said,
I will not let
Mickey
you
bent
down.
your ass over.
God
Oh,
bless
hoi.
you.
Governor DeSantis, thank you.
Woohoo. You're going to get out of my district. Woohoo.
Mickey Mouse had better lawyers than the state of Florida. Just
That is
imagine
going to
that.
conclude our debate. The next line says, if the audience can
I'm
hold
not
the applause,
goofy,
that
even
didn't
though I
work
made
out.
him.
But anyway, for just a few more seconds, I'll ask you to just hold the applause. On behalf of my
Who's the
fellow
goofy?
moderators, I want to thank the candidates for their time and for this spirited debate. Really good, deep conversation.
We do not
I
care.
appreciate you all
That
being here.
wasn't
Thank you
debate.
as well to our wonderful
That
hosts
wasn't
here at
good,
the
deep
Adrian
conversation at all.
Performing Arts Center.
That was
On
better
behalf
than
of
the other one.
Republican National Committee and all
Thank
of
you
us
for
at
joining
There was way
us.
less
So
interrupting
Goodbye,
than I
everyone
expected.
from Miami.
There was a lot less clawing.
Yeah, there was a lot less people shouting at each other for
Yeah, but
10
like
minutes.
it was better than the other debates, but it still was a shit debate.
Oh, dude, they got fact checks going in the fucking live chat the whole time.
That's funny.
So those-
NBC fact checks really well.
That's interesting. So it says here, fact check. Did DeSantis evacuate Americans out of Israel? And then they have like a link. DeSantis, anti-Semitism on the rise, not so-called Islamophobia. And then there's a link. That is probably a big game changer, because I don't mind if news channels like host the debates or whatever, but to be honest, this should be fucking NPR every time. To keep it fair, it should be on NPR every time. Everybody's TV gets NPR, no matter what. Even if you can find some of those random like digital bunny ears, you'll still get your local PBS affiliate. So if all of this shit should be on public broadcasting, because I had to give Fox News the fucking Bin Podcast email address because I wasn't giving them mine, just so we could watch the debate. And people shouldn't be able to, you know what I'm saying, like gather a fucking list of everybody's emails, which will immediately turn into spam phone calls and oh, check your Amazon email, just confirm the address and I'll send your motorcycle. Like it's always some shenanigans when you have to give out personal information, and it should be on a public platform. So if there is any YouTube money that is gleaned from this, it should go to PBS, go back to the taxpayer. This is the taxpayer's shit.
Yeah.
It's our democracy. Like, you know what I mean? It's our election that they're talking about. PBS should be covering it. Thoughts on the debate, Mark?
Less hostile, scarier message, but also rephrasing things to try to win moderates.
Yeah.
And the scary part is we already know what these people actually think. Them saying it in a different way that's slightly less offensive doesn't change the fact that they're still garbage underneath. So
everybody needs garbage. Takeaway moments for you, Miss Brenna.
I'm agreeing with Mark on the fact that they were scared of yesterday's election.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
What happened yesterday in, I would say, the purple states that
Kentucky,
they
Ohio,
that they
Virginia.
rely on, scared a lot of these Republicans into holding back on what they originally thought. The reason why a lot of them didn't answer those questions, because first of all, a lot of those questions were very pointed on what side of the fence you were on.
Right.
And the reason why they didn't answer them is because they can't. Because what they found out yesterday is because at least these particular states that they're trying to flip, right? Mm-hmm. They're trying to go onto the side of the Republicans are not. Because a lot of these districts that were Trump heavy did not go in the Trump way. They went in the Democratic way, which scared them shitless. And Vivek Ramaswamy scares the shit out of me. I mean, he's worse than Trump, and I don't know if it's real or if it's an act.
I think it's
regardless, it scares me. I think Chris Christie is acting far more Republican than he really believes because he's in New Jersey, and New Jersey is not a Republican state.
It might
be.
And
I still think that he's holding something back, and I don't know what it is. We'll never see it because he's not going to become the nominee. So.
Well, and one thing I just remembered, the fact that he straight up attacked the moderators in his opening.
Oh yeah, I might have to go back and watch that now.
And nobody said anything about it, which pissed me off.
Correct.
Yeah.
They should say you qualified for this. We invited you here. Why are you attacking us? They can't say, poor Kristen Welker. Like, she's been attacked before. Like, why are they allowing that? It pisses me off. A woman of that caliber should not be attacked like that by that low of a man. Sorry.
No.
Let me just
Men are
caution the
trash.
audience. Let's not go down this road. We've asked
Yeah,
you to
we
please, keep restraining yourselves and would be helpful so we can hear the candidates because these are important issues and the voters want and need to hear them. Mr. Ramaswamy, let me turn to you. Please make your case. Why should you be the nominee and not the
Look at that
former president?
indignant fuck.
I think there's something deeper going.
Very smug.
on in the Republican Party here.
That chin just went
about what happened
straight
last
up,
night.
60 degrees.
We've become a party of losers at the end of the day. It was a cancer.
Yeah, he is copying Trump.
The Republican establishment. Let's speak the truth. I mean, since Ronna McDaniel took over as chairwoman of the RNC in 2017, we have lost 2018, 2020, 2022, no red wave that never came. We got trounced last night in 2023. And I think that we have to have accountability.
Hey, you know what? You just earned your you just earned yourself a spot on the soundboard there, buddy. Let me rewind a little second here. Can you just list that for me one more time there?
2018, 2020 over as chairwoman of the RNC in 2017. We have lost 2018, 2020, 2022, no red wave that never came. We got trounced last night in 2023. And I think that we have to have accountability in our party. For that matter, Ron, if you want to come on stage tonight, you want to look the GOP voters in the eye and tell them you resign, I will yield my time to you. And frankly, look, the people there cheering for losing in the Republican Party. Think about who's moderating this debate. This should be Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk. We'd have 10 times the viewership, asking questions that GOP primary voters actually care about.
The most shocking thing I've ever seen in a fucking debate.
Did he just say Tucker, Joe Rogan, and
Elon Musk?
It's going to take Elon a minute to form a question in his brain to ask them.
Twitter? No.
Elon Musk is not a smart man. He's just a rich one.
He's a lucky rich person.
He can manipulate the system.
And Joe Rogan can go fuck himself.
Dude, Joe Rogan knows he's literal garbage and that this whole thing is a fucking
Yeah.
grift, and he's just riding the grift, and he's just
That's
like, yo,
his whole bit.
I'm just riding this grift, dude. Like, I don't understand it either. It's crazy.
You can even try and find clips of Joe Rogan trying to act smart, and you can see when he reaches his limit.
Yeah.
Like whenever Neil deGrasse Tyson comes on, he just asks questions and stops like with the conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
It's real funny. Like he's like, no.
Yeah.
Remember Joe last week? You were saying the moon landings were fake. He's like, I don't believe that anymore.
I mean,
I was like, yeah, because Neil's in the fucking
can't
studio.
follow.
And
Yeah,
then he's like, yeah, I'm not gonna fucking put that bullshit in front of Neil deGrasse Tyson. Not again.
Smarter
I'm-
people.
And Tucker Carlson, I mean, we have the clip. Play the clip.
People into our party. Do you think the Democrats, and we've got Kristen Welker here, do you think the Democrats would actually hire Greg Gutfeld to host a Democratic debate?
Greg
They wouldn't do
Gutfeld is garbage.
And so the fact of the matter is, I mean, Kristen, I'm going to use this time because this is actually about you in the media and the corrupt media.
Get the
Yo.
out
Hold
of
on,
here.
hold on.
Bring it.
He attacked Kristen Welker personally. He didn't say anything about anybody else that was behind that desk.
Hey, you know
It was the lady.
You guys smell that? I smell little pee.
Yeah.
I smell
And
little
look at-
pee. That's what I smell.
Look at the rage in his face when he's talking about Kristen Welker. Something that Kristen Welker did to him.
You
has hurt
embarrassed
him
my
deeply.
fucking fake
He did
daddy.
not respond to his DMs, and he's still mad about it.
He sent that. He sent that very unimpressive dick pic and got no response.
This is I'm going to use a wrestling term, but this is Vivek going into business for himself. He has a personal grudge against Kristen Welker, and he's using this platform to take it out on her.
Well, and he uses this opening statement directly to attack the corrupt media that's destroying the country, that rigged the election, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And then later in the debate, attacks Ukraine and Zelensky for having a state-run news organization, saying that's corrupt and how we have an awesome media system that's free here. Which one is it, you fucker? You can't say everything's bad.
Well, in the beginning of it, I'm going to say it's bad because I want to attack this lady. But then later, when it becomes convenient, I will conveniently forget.
Oh, it's good. Okay. Thank you, Mikey. You
And
cleared
now-
it up.
and now-
I was having a hard time.
It was bad for me, but then it became more advantageous for it to be good for me. So then I switched. I switched when it became more convenient.
I don't have to be consistent. It's not my job.
Yeah, that's someone else's job to be consistent.
Yeah.
I'm here to be
Yeah.
viral.
Nobody
Yeah.
up there is consistent. Not a soul.
TikToks. That's what he's doing.
He's just the least.
The Trump-Russia collusion hoax that you pushed on this network for years, was that real or was that Hillary Clinton made up disinformation?
I don't know. You tell me. You tell me, Vivek.
Let's look at his private
PP tape.
Find that PP tape.
Yeah, there's definitely a PP tape. There's got to be.
So the guy who's on TikTok all fucking day doesn't know that Trump has a PP tape? Are we fucking kidding right now? Come on, bro.
Right.
You're not even trying. Your algorithm is fucking echo chambered as fuck because everybody knows this.
Someone should tell this guy to go read the fucking the report by what's his name, Mueller, the Mueller report.
No,
where Mueller says that all that shit happened.
And the only reason he's not being the Russia collusion shit is not a big issue is because there's so many other things that he's dead to rights on. So it doesn't matter. So keep your fucking PP tape secrets. You're going to jail for all of the other shit after you get done paying $250 million. That's when you're going to go to jail. After we take all your towers and make you liquidate all your assets and you sell Mar-a-Lago. When you sell when all your towers are gone, all your signs are down. That's when you're going to go to jail after you've lost everything.
The tower formerly known as Trump.
Is there anything else horrible that Vivek said here?
Well, he shouldn't have much left, right?
Yeah, he's about
Answer the question. Go.
Mr. Roberts.
On this network for years, was that real or was that Hillary Clinton made up disinformation?
It's real.
Answer the question. Go.
It's real.
Dan.
This is how we get our country back. We need accountability because this media rigged the 2016 election. They rigged the 2020 election with the Hunter Biden laptop story.
What?
And they're going to rig
How
this
did they rig
election.
the 2016 election?
I don't understand that.
It was stolen.
Didn't Trump win that one?
I think. Wait, they rigged it for Trump?
Yeah, but not
Oh,
the popular
Maybe
vote.
that's the problem.
They rigged it so the popular vote, right?
I don't even think they thought about it that far, Ollie. That would have made sense.
I don't think Vivek has thought about anything he said.
I don't think he's ever had a thought.
It's all written down.
Oh, look at that. Look at that fucking perfect screen grab. Thanks,
There you go.
Vivek.
There you go.
There you go. That's what
Oh,
I
that's creepy.
Oh.
He's
Going
definitely
to lick your shoe.
No, not again. Not again. Get off my shoes. They're always
Christian
wet.
Welker.
When Vivek thinks about Kristen Welker.
He's definitely got a crush on her. Like it's very obvious. Like I've managed teenagers for the better part of a decade. I can tell when one of them likes another one. Vivek, you just quit pulling her ponytails, all right?
It's the poking, right?
Yeah, quit tickling her, okay?
Yeah. Yeah, get your nasty hands off of her.
Leave her alone.
Yeah, don't touch her. Don't touch her.
She is her own person. She doesn't need you.
This dude gives off big incel energy. Like, like it's so weird that this is the Republicans, dude.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. As I've said in the previous two debates, Vivek just wants fascism. That's what he wants.
Obvious.
That's his platform.
Tim Scott has a lot in common with the current Speaker of the House.
Yep.
They both hate black people.
Boy, howdy.
And they're both Christian fundamentalists, apparently.
You know, Tim Scott's only utility at this point is that he is 100% going to follow Project 2020-25 by the letter.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only thing he's got going for him is he's the one idiot that would just like, all right, and here's what I do for work.
I think like Chris Christie shows levels of integrity, but he's also Chris Christie. So he's weird because he is an old Republican at this point. He is an old guard Republican. He's a neocon, and these people don't know what to do with him anymore.
Yep.
I think if Chris Christie was still a good person, he would have left the party by now.
Yeah.
He'd be an independent. Should be an independent.
The fact that he hasn't left, and he's not. I mean, he's
it's out of spite.
One of the few that he's one of the few of them up on the stage that has actually gone after Trump by name is Christie. I'll give him that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But at the same time, if you don't believe in any of their policies, pretty much at all, what are you doing over there? Or if you think it's so bad, then, you know what I mean? Like, all this stuff Trump did was wrong and all that stuff was bad. And then your thing is to do the opposite. Well, that makes you on our side.
But I think that Chris Christie he's a true believer in Republican policy, at least what he has grown up with. And I think it's scary for him to believe that there is an alternative Republican Party that is growing in popularity.
Well,
I don't think he'll leave.
Because the thing is, there was a lot of people, myself included, thought a lot like Chris Christie back in the 2004. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of people in that early aughts that thought a lot like Chris Christie. He was a reasonable conservative, because we all wanted to get Al Qaeda. It wasn't ISIS yet. We all wanted to get Al Qaeda and all that. So it was like normal ish. Right. But then everybody else grew the fuck up. Like, that was 20 years ago, man. And you're still on the same shit. Like, you haven't changed any of your social positions, and the country has evolved around you, and you haven't changed yet. Like, that's not a hallmark of firm leadership. That just means you're stubborn.
Well, and if you think about it, all right, so in, let's say 12 years, not even, maybe 10 years, Christie has gone from a popular Republican governor in a Democratic state to literally a political dinosaur.
Yeah.
In a decade. That is wild. The Republican Party has passed him so much in the last 10 years with their radicalism. Christie used to be seen as a guy that was out there.
A little bit, yeah.
Because of how he acted. And in 10 years, the Republican Party has made him seem boring and inadequate.
Because look who he's standing up there with. Here, let's get his mug
back on.
The
fact that Democrats look at him.
Let's get his mug back up there. Look who he's running against. Like, what is this? What even is this kid? How old is he?
We're
38.
The Democrats are looking at Chris Christie as somebody who is like, that's what we want back in the Republican Party. That's how bad the Republicans have gotten.
Call me crazy here. In an ideal situation, if we had to pick a Republican to be Speaker of the House, I think Chris Christie is perfectly suited for that position.
Yes.
You know what I mean? He needs to be in the House. He does not need to be running for fucking president.
I can see Nikki Haley in that position too.
Nope.
Honestly.
Chris Christie he's a good
smash the pager.
Chris Christie is a good retail politician. He's good at like schmoozing people. I think he'd be perfect in like the House of Representatives.
At least
he could
be in leadership real quick.
He could talk to the Democrats on an even level, and I think because of where he had to govern, he can't talk to his own party because they're so out of control.
Right.
Yeah. This East Coast red wave is fucking weird.
Yeah, Tim, cut it out.
Yeah, Tim.
I didn't do it.
You ran in that fucking MAGA guy one.
You pushed him.
I saw you.
It's your fault.
Listen, my state voted for Biden and Hillary, so I don't know what you guys are talking about.
So my state voted for Bernie.
Yeah, and what did that get you?
Nowhere.
Vote harder next time.
Actually, lower. It actually made it worse.
And there's like 55 million people in Brenna's state, which makes all the other states invalid. So
we're not even well represented.
I was about to say.
By the way,
Well, so they're probably underrepresented.
We're actually we're underrepresented. If you look at other states, the way that they determine their representation is completely different than the way that we do, and we're very underrepresented.
You know what's crazy? If you were to accurately represent every state in the House of Representatives, according to the original congressional limits on how many people should be in a district, like 30,000 people. There would be roughly 3,000 members of the House of Representatives.
So shall it be written? So shall it be done? We will buy the Superdome. And Congress will be held there. It'll look just like fucking
it would look like the Republican Senate.
Yeah,
Come on,
it looked like it looked like Phantom Menace.
Yeah,
but I think the numbers the numbers they're looking for nowadays is like 700,000 approximately per district, and obviously that doesn't happen. Yeah, because some states only have one district, like Montana or North Dakota, where fucking nobody lives.
Hey, yo, I saw some pictures of some homes in Montana. I was like, how bad can bears really be?
So
they're like $5 too. So
no,
actually, Brenna is literally underrepresented because California doesn't matter how many people live there at this point. California's not getting new seats unless they get another 2 or 3 million people all at once. But states like,
well, here's hoping.
Yeah, states like
wait for it.
North Dakota or Wyoming or whoever has those 3 electoral votes, because they don't have enough people to meet the requirement for a second district, still have more voting power than Brenna does, or me. I don't know what state you live in, Mikey. I don't really care.
State of denial.
It's one of those states.
State of decay.
How many electoral votes does Minnesota have?
Quantum state.
3, 4? I don't know how many people live in Minnesota.
I think they have 6 or 8.
2.7.
6 or 8 is my guess.
Listen, there's only 2 states that do the point something. It's like Maine and Nebraska.
Well, Nebraska has a split vote.
Oh, that's right. They have like an at-large district that just counts for whatever. Maine does the proportional.
At the bin, Ohio just changed its constitution to allow bodily autonomy, and we legalize weed. Yeah, that was the other cool thing I like. Yeah, Ohio, go Buckeyes. Ohio's crushing it this week.
Yeah.
And usually I hate Ohio, but
I've been to Ohio. There's nothing to do there.
There's Ohioans.
They have like 3 football teams. What's not to like?
Who likes football?
I like football.
Who's your team? Who's your team, Brenna? Aren't you a Browns person?
Yo, the Browns, I hear they're killing it.
They're doing really well.
Except against the Steelers.
Where do the Browns play?
Where the Browns play? Cleveland?
Oh.
Yeah, where's that? What state is that?
Cleveland,
where is it?
Indiana?
Michigan?
Ohio.
Ohio.
What's high in the middle and round on the ends?
Boobies?
Stop it.
You know, Ohio
Y'all are
is good,
sick.
It's not our
Y'all
fault.
need help.
Y'all need
Ohio
Jesus.
Mental health.
Ohio is good morning in Japanese.
Ohio
say,
gozaimasu.
Ohio.
Ohio gozaimasu. Me and Tim are doing Duolingo to try to catch up with Brenna. Good luck. Brenna, what's your streak at?
So, I actually stopped at 1,200.
1,200.
Jesus.
I'm
a 4-year streak.
I'm done. I'm done.
God.
I'm gonna start up in the new year. I think I'm gonna start up with a completely different language.
Japanese. Do Japanese like me and
Do
Tim.
Japanese.
It's really cool.
I don't know if I have the capacity for Japanese.
Kakoi desu.
I might do Scottish Gaelic for my friend. Because she grew up knowing Scottish Gaelic, so I might end up doing that.
Ask Tim's wife. She's fucking got 13 trillion points on Duolingo in there. I was like, damn, did she finish it?
Oh, she owns it now.
Yeah, it's just her class now. She teaches it on every other weekend. So I went to the music thing on Duolingo because they added music and math, and I instantly went to lesson 39. And I was like, I'm a fucking musician. Fuck out of my face with this weak shit. I lost. I failed the lesson because because I don't know how to fucking. Ollie, mute. Because I don't know how to fucking read instructions. Like it's telling me to like hold the note for as long as it should be played. Like I didn't even catch that they put different length notes on there, and I was just like, okay, B. B, 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 B. It's like, and then it like caught up to me and just X'd me out of the thing. It's like, you don't know what you're doing. I was like, I didn't know you had to hold the button. My bad. Shit.
I would like to say a quick production note. I like how in the screen it looks like Brenna's looking down on all of us.
Accurate.
Because it's true.
Because she is.
She's just got like, she's the only one at that level. Everyone else is like beneath her.
That's how it should be.
mean,
and that's how it's going to remain.
I know.
Didn't we discuss this beforehand?
Fourth largest economy in the world. I get it. Listen.
Yeah, 19th largest economy.
You Californians think that you're better than everyone else.
Why do you guys keep looking like you're better than me?
How many military bases do we have in California?
I don't know. How many shitty governors do you have in California?
As many championships as you have in sports.
Let's see. We had Ronald
the governor
Reagan.
of California.
The gummy bear of California.
We had Schwarzenegger.
I lower the taxes.
Hasta la vista, California. Get in the chopper.
Your taxes are terminated.
I mean, Governor Chopper.
Your taxes are no longer acceptable.
Your special building permit has been erased.
Hasta la vista, environmentalism.
This Hummer will burn the fuel.
All right, let's get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, we're getting punchy.
Despair.
No, not today. But watch
Soon.
out for Vivek.
It's only because you ate all the cookie.
Oh yeah,
He's
we
not
gotta play Halo. Good night, everybody.
All right.
Sayonara.
See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow for the bin at 2 p.m. Central, 12 p.m. Pacific.
I love you all.
12 p.m.
Boomer
What
lost his
Pacific.
ball.
What the fuck is that?
I don't need your slander.
12 p.m. Yeah.
20%.
You filthy animal! You filthy animal! You filthy animal! You filthy animal!